Welcome to the Champ We Are United podcast, the number one football comic based podcast. Would we forget a hornet nest of comic book titles like an eagle looking down onto a wizard, ready to produce a lion, looking for an adventure, to become a rover with a hotspur, to produce a jag moment, becoming the champion? Not sure this is a Danny of the Dazzler's introduction, but this is certainly episode 106. I am the tangential one, and I am your host for tonight's pod. We're a small squad tonight, so let me introduce you to my fellow team members in the studio alongside me. First up, you wonder what holiday he might take us on with a particular set of football boots in his sports bag. It is Grandad Gangster Surty Brinsden Bygone Berrigan.
Well, thank you for the introduction. I'm glad to be here in this small but efficient team tonight.
It's good to have you. It's good to have you on board again, Bygone. And completing our small team tonight is the man that has brought us attempted murder mystery, and this is your life features. It is none other than Mute Button Matt.
Hello there, tangential one. Yes, very good to be here. Just thinking about as holiday specials, we probably should rename Bygone the Judas Chalmers of the podcast, really.
Yes,
he's always on bloody holiday, isn't he? He's always in a caravan.
He certainly is, yeah. More of that to follow, but he's changing things up. Before we move on then, I'm just going to say it's apologies from Luscious Locks Ridders, Voice of Reason Simo, and of course the Podfather Goal. Hopefully all will be returning to the studio soon. But that's not going to put us off, and we are going to plough ahead in this, obviously, 106. So our running
106.
106. Who thought it, eh? So our running order, we're going to have the usual social media feedback from all you friends of the show. You're all friends of the show. You're not just listeners or viewers on YouTube. You're all our friends. That'll be brought to us by Mute Button. In the absence of Simo, I'm going to pick up once again the We Are United story in the Champ comic. We're up to issue 7. And here he is, a hotshot Hamish story from a Tiger Holiday Special 1984. Will be done by Bygone. Then we're going to have a little collector's corner, see what we might have been up to in our purchases or looking at various auction sites in the last 3 weeks. And then we've got a special Football Family Robinson brought to us by Mute. And then, of course, we'll go over the social media, Facebook groups and everything else and how you can contact us. And you never know, we might even find time to say our goodbyes to you. So I'm back in the hot seat, and as is always, I like to move it at a brisk pace. I'm certainly in the Guardiola school. I'm pressing from the front, and it's straight over to Mute Button for the social media feedback.
Thank you very much. Sorry, pungential one. That's another. I haven't even mentioned the introduction. Dear God, dear. Spent hours over that. Superb.
Oh, trust me, I'm actually making a rod for my own back. I'm not sure I'm going to have to give up hosting because I can't write the scripts anymore.
We're expecting now. We're expecting great things. Right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So the feedback from the last show, which was show 105, which was, of course, Bygone did a holiday special story. And I did a review of Rocky Goes for Goal, Soccer Diaries, and you did week 6 of the We Are United story. Okay, so let's go through the feedback. So Phil Cole, hi Phil, said interesting chat about the magazine, because you remember you mentioned the magazine.
Yeah, actually, I know. Sorry, I really enjoyed. It was very interesting to read what he says here. So.
Yeah, exactly. So he's a long-time reader of the Meg, and he said he looks to be struggling. He said they've reduced the page count to remove some reprint and articles. The 5 main strips have now include 2 regened stories for younger readership, and has led to a bit of anger online. And he suspects that there might be more cuts to come, sadly. And he's pretty gloomy about his future with the prospect of tariffs hitting US sales and the uncertainty of the W. Smith sale in this country. Having said that, he does say Rock of the Reds is brilliant. So I'm not a fan of Rock of the Reds.
Enjoy that.
Yeah.
But I must, sorry to cut across you there, but I mean, I really appreciate that feedback. And it's amazing, isn't it? Because I've come to it quite new, you know, how I was eulogizing and really found it amazing. But to get that feedback and hear that actually it's being reduced and cutting down as well, it's a bit heartbreaking. But at the same time, if that's the case, really appreciate that feedback and to hear that. Hopefully, though, we'll like a phoenix rise from the ashes again. But there you go.
Yeah, exactly. And he carries on. He says on the Soccer Diaries, and he's right. I've seen this. He said, not sure if you guys spotted the Slim World Book Day release. Rocky
Yeah.
takes the lead. That sits between books 2 and 3. That's right. I've seen that actually. Very cheap.
Yeah. And in actual fact, even when it was either season 2 or season 3, they also did a special with Rocky goes to the Women's World Cup, I think it is, or the Women's Euros. I think it was the World Cup, but that was one that was online only as well. I kind of got a couple of that, but it's very similar to that, and I don't know if that's available to purchase.
That does ring a
It's
bell.
interesting, yeah.
Thanks.
But again, really interesting to hear that.
Yeah, fabulous stuff. Thanks a lot, Phil. Thanks for letting us know. Great information. And you listeners out there, if you've got any information or anything we talk about, we'd love to hear it, because we're certainly not the experts, and we just soak this stuff up. We want to hear any information you've got. It's great. And he also mentions he had a copy of the FPSM, which you were looking for.
Yeah, I've been in touch with him about that.
Yeah,
brilliant stuff. Yeah, so
Great.
Thanks a lot, Phil.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, and we have the Melvster himself. We have Trevor Melvin. And here we go. The Champ We Are United podcast, episode 105, is a headline grabber. And he goes, the tangential one turns super sub. Tangent Paul steps in and produces the goods to keep Simo's winning We Are United story run alive. You're not singing anymore. Bygone Berrigan on song with Tiger Summer Special. But Richard Wood's theme tune attempts fall on deaf ears. We need a rendition of that.
That was something else.
Would you like to sing on a star? Was it that one?
But it came out, if you like, a lot of finger.
Well, it was.
Fudge.
I was going to say,
like
it was. Would you like to swing on a star? But it was. Would you like a lot of chocolate on your biscuit? Join our club. And when he was singing that, he thought he was singing Finger of Fudge. I mean, talk about getting it all muddled up.
There's quite a bit of fingering, wasn't there? I think the last episode.
God, here we go. Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm back in the hosting chair, and I will not have that.
Okay. Carrying on. Goals got more issues. The Podfather threatens to rival the tangential one in comic book transfer stakes.
Yes.
He's talking about his 2000 AD, which brought us on to the magazine.
The magazines.
Controversial Bygone Berrigan fingering claim. Back to that. Mute Button maintains he is only thumbing through the copy of Whizzer and Chips.
It could have been a whoopee the way you guys were going on about it, but anyway.
That's crazy. Right, Mute Button Matt's Soccer Diaries revelation. Is it the end of the American dream for Rocky Race? Well, who knows? But as Phil said, there is another book out there. People, you can grab hold of that. And he finishes, the UK's #1 football comic podcast delivers a double yoker yet again.
Oh, love it.
Look at his face lighting up.
He knows how to make me happy, doesn't he?
He's a big smile in his face. When was the last time you had a double yoker?
It's been a while now. So I only seem to hear about them in the pod. I don't actually get them out of my eggs anymore. But second best, I'll take it.
Okay, there's so many different routes. I'm not going to do it. Okay. And then Champ Tower's public service announcement of the week. We used to have these, didn't we? Remember those life? Click and stuff like that. Eat well. When practicing football skills on the beach, please refrain from kicking the ball against overhanging cliffs or anyone named Cliff, as falling rocks are a potential hazard. Thanks, Trevor. And he mentions about Commando something here, some interesting information.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Never knew that. Okay. Richard Woods says, Trevor Melvin, oh my God, I know it's heresy, but I haven't managed to listen to it yet. Not sure if I want to now. Richard, at the time, hadn't actually listened to it. So I don't know if he's actually... I'm unsure whether he's actually listened to it yet.
The Bygone mashup has put him off of episode 105.
I really apologise. We'll have to do another copy where it can be edited out or something like that, or you just fast forward from this moment to this moment.
I thought it was really good, actually.
Unless he wants it on a CD or MP3 download. I could start doing them, couldn't I? Like a personal song.
At the risk of going off a tangent, our friend of the show, David Skew, actually sent me some downloads of his album. He's talking about a CD, and I've seen the album cover, which I will post on the Facebook sites of the David Skew No, it's called Sad Ballads
Salads,
or
yeah.
Bad Salads.
Bad salads,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
it.
yeah. So David Skew singing country.
Skew sings.
Talking about Skew sings, yeah. Right, sorry, apologies. I'll get back to the feedback. Dave Shepherd, hi Dave, said John Giddett's artwork for Billy's Boots was the best ever, legendary. And yeah, I don't think many people disagree with you
No,
there, Dave.
I
I remember
don't. Yeah, I
Dave as
agree
well.
with
He's
that.
posted on the Facebook site. This is the Rather Overs 40 years after. He actually did have two of his originals.
Oh,
And
wow, brilliant. Oh,
unfortunately, he
I
had to
missed that.
sell them. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So I think if people
devastating.
want to look at them, I think if you search on the Facebook site for Dave Shepherd,
Yeah.
you'll probably
Yeah.
see the
Oh, wow.
pictures
Yeah.
pop up. But yeah, thanks a lot, Dave. You're right. It was John Gillett, absolutely brilliant. We'll see some of John Gillett's artwork later on in the show.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say that football family.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to the Champ We Are United Facebook site. We have Ian Golden. Hi, Ian, friend of the show. No one's going to be brave enough to
Well,
do
I was
Golden
just going to
Brown.
say, obviously, I should have obviously with the Podfather, not with us. As you know, some of you think he's doing impressions, but he's the guy that holds the door to all the celebrities that join us. Obviously, as you know, most of them are dead, but he's the one that sorts all that out. Yeah, Dot's still alive and kicking. But unfortunately, with the Podfather not with us, it does mean, unfortunately, we haven't been able to unlock the stage door to the studio, and we only know the main entrance. Of course, you know, and we only mix with the stars in the green room after the show, don't we, guys? So
let's not mention
it's
entrance.
Gonna have to wait. Yeah.
After my efforts last week, I don't think I want to step in and start singing a song. So
okay, we'll just think golden brown.
Golden, yeah,
anyway,
exactly, yeah.
Golden says more evidence of a red away kit for Riverton there, perhaps, because that was in
it was the red tinge in the Champ comic, which could be quite interesting when we do the next episode in a few moments.
Good. Adrian Lord, everybody in the House
friend of the show, House of Lord.
Yeah,
he went
you know what I love? He thinks about it, but he's just not brave enough. So it's just like in the background, House of Lord.
Adrian says, in all honesty, you guys had me at fingering in Morecambe. What
Adrian, we can always rely on you.
What a sweet talker you are, Adrian. Silver-tongued. I'm not going there either.
Moving on. Come on.
Moving on quickly.
You stick with the feedback, though.
Thank you. Okay.
We're the full watershed here, so let's move on.
What a great podcast. It was longer than a Doc Cotton monologue. I recently went to Glasgow to the Commando swap meet and got a few Roy the Rovers 1977 and some Tiger Annuals. Enjoyed the Billy Boots story. I enjoyed you going through the We Are United story too. You are right about some of the eBay prices too for comics. They are very high. I love Collector's Corner. Oh, well, there'll be one shortly, Adrian. And I would love a Champ 6 and 7 to complete my collection. So if anybody's listening and got those,
to make a note of that. I've got a couple, but I never seem to my doubles. I never seem to actually have the doubles that people are looking for. But yeah, I'll make a note of that, Adrian.
And he says, back to Buddy, Iron Bar was in there. I have all of them, and I will check for his first appearance in about 1981ish. That was from the feedback last time.
Yeah.
Subsequent to that, I did. Yeah, I mean, Adrian said that he was in Buddy when he first appeared. I think Gold was saying, well, actually, he first appeared in Spike. You're both right. You're both because it appeared in the very first Spike, which was, I think, the 22nd of January 1983. At the same week, he appeared in Buddy in the Limp Along Leslie story. So absolutely
interesting. Clever. It's very. You've got to say we go on about the continuity at times with some of the comics, but I've got to take my hat off to DC Thompson there. That was quite cleverly done, wasn't it, at that period? Then to shoehorn Charlie Ironbar suddenly into both stories there.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, and I've looked at a couple of weeks, and there's different angles on the stories. Obviously, the Spike one will focus more on Charlie Bar and.
Because in Spike it was actually the Ironbar story.
It was. Well, brilliant stuff, Adrian. Thank you very much. And Mighty World of British Comics. It was a hello from Nikos, and I think he's talking about Billy's Boots, and he said one of our very beloved football comic stories in Greece. Thank you very much, Nikos. Hope you're well, mate. And on YouTube, there was a message from a Mr. Ian Ridaway. And he
Ridaway.
Ridaway now. He said the Fantastic Four on YouTube.
Ooh.
Thank you very much. And I said, oh, well, it would have been better as the Famous Five or the Super Six.
Yep.
And Lee Coulson said, nice one,
Aussie Lee, friend of the show.
Said, nice one, Matt. An Enid Blyton Roy the Rovers crossover would be quite the story. Another great episode as usual too. Especially enjoyed Bygone's look at Billy's boot story I have never seen before. I can see now how repetitive the storylines were, but was definitely a favourite strip from reading Tiger back in the day. Bit of a random question, but does anyone find themselves going over old comics and annuals more enjoyable than following their actual football team? Controversial.
Yep. Without doubt.
We didn't take much thinking.
Yep, right.
He said, I just can't get into the modern game as much anymore. I would almost take Melchester over Tottenham, even when we do make a final. Controversial.
Look at that feedback from a land down under.
And funny enough, actually, Lee, we were talking just before we came on air, weren't we? Talking a bit similar about that, talking about Arsenal and talking about United. The guys, the guys here facing me support those teams, and But anyway, I think yes, we do. I think the answer is we do much prefer the football comics. Yeah, got a lot more love for them anyway than modern football.
Exactly.
That's it. That's the end of the feedback. Tangential.
Brilliant. Nice one. As always there. Yeah, and obviously thanks for all that feedback. I should have queued mute button up for that, but are we going to be doing some sharing before we move on to the next item? And do I need to kind of do a bit of fill-in as a segue piece?
I'll bring up on the screen. It's fine.
So we are obviously next up is myself, and I'm picking up the We Are United story from the Champ comic, which of course Simo had started, but unfortunately has missed the last couple of pods. So with his agreement, he's allowed me to come off the subs bench. And so last pod we did issue 6, and if you can remember, we left with the shocking news that United defender Tug Wilson's 5-year-old son Kevin had gone missing and was believed to have been kidnapped. And so, of course, some really shocking news there. And then, obviously, crazily, though, in this situation, life does go on. And, of course, United are still trying to get promotion. So we move on now then to issue number 7. And I was going to say, as we know, in each issue of the Champ comic, on the opening page of the story, we've got a little description of the opposition, and we were made aware that United have 2 fixtures. The first in this week's edition, the first is away to Newsham, and we're told they're going to be gunning for revenge, as United had beaten Newsham 5-0 at the Mill in October, which is very interesting because that's a result from before the first Champ comic was published. On the page of the story, then as we move to the story, at the top of the story, we're told it's Wednesday, March the 28th, and we're away to Newsham. And there's a fabulous picture. And just talking about that red kit, actually, if you get a chance to dig this out, or if you're on the YouTube, but for the listeners, the image is brilliant. But in the background, it's like a red tinge on the image, and it's a horrific tackle on Larry Watson, and the Newsham player is coming in from behind, and he's got his studs right on the back of Watson's calf, and Watson's down. We see Andy Bates running onto the pitch, and Watson is actually stretchered off. I mean, it's a horrendous challenge.
Is he sent off? He's not even sent off, is he?
No, I don't believe he is sent off, actually. But remember, we're back in 1984. 1984, and trust me, even in 84, football was considered soft by the older fans compared to the 70s and the 60s. But I certainly don't think that would definitely be a red card in today's football, but not back then. Andy Watson is saying that to Joe as he's coming off that he thinks that his leg could be broken, and manager Joe Pearson turns to substitute, and this is interesting for all you United fans, to a young Scot called Duncan Frazier. And of course, maybe spoiler alerts, but I think Duncan might have a bright future ahead of him, and he's going to give the youngster his debut for United. Pearson's encouraging Fraser, but he's concerned in his think bubble we see if he can handle the big time, as United already have enough kids in the team. But we see Duncan, he's straight in the action, and he's making a great tackle, and he tries to send Josh T down the wing, but unfortunately his pass is intercepted. And soon we see the halftime whistle goes, and the game's goalless. But as the players are coming off the field, we hear that Watson does not have a broken leg, but torn ligaments. Alex Hedgehog-Jones is saying that's a relief, but Captain Fred Remy is not so sure, as sometimes ligaments are worse than a break and it can take months to heal. We see the crowd lamenting the current luck of United, and they're discussing the kidnapping of Tug Wilson's son, as the story is now in the public domain. Obviously, the police appealing. Initially, they'd kept it out of the public eye, hoping that the kidnappers would contact Tug with demand, which has actually happened now since it's come into the public domain with that ransom fee. In the dressing room, though, the United players are discussing retribution for that horrific challenge, and they want to take it out on the player. But Pearson is not having any of that, and he's saying we win this game by playing football, and that's the way to beat the hard men in this game. And besides, they need the points, and not going to do that with the man sent off. So strong words once again from the new manager of United, Joe Pearson, laying down the law to his charges. In the second half, though, we see Tug's replacement, young reserve David Belton. He's really struggling with the pace, and he's, we've seen his thought bubble that it's so much faster than reserve football. And the Newsham winger, he's just flown past him, and now it's out to the Newsham forward. He's fired in a shot. Oh, Shenton saved it with his legs, but the Newsham forward is there with a rebound. He fired. Oh, what a fantastic reflex save from Shenton. He stopped that, but we see Shenton, he's shouting at Belton to clear the ball. The young defender just doesn't seem to have the pace or speed of thought, and he's beaten to the ball by a Newsham player, and it's in the back of the net. It's 1-0 to Newsham. Oh dear, I feel for Shenton there. He's made a fantastic double save, but the young reserve's just not able to help him out. We see that Shenton, in his thought bubble, he's just thinking that Wilson would have got to that. And now we see we've got Fred Remy. He's urging the team forward with a clenched fist. Hedgehog-Jones is on the ball, and he's telling all the players to get forward. He's placed it down the wing for Josh Cuppity. And it's Cuppity there. He beats a couple of players. He fires in a great cross. Willie Barnes! He's hit the woodwork. Unbelievable. The rebound. Evans is onto it like a flash. It's a volley. Oh! What a save by the Newsham keeper. I thought that was there all the way. Going straight to the top corner. That is a fantastic save. Incredible. If you get a chance to get this issue or the highlights rule, honestly, what a save that is. That was a goal all the way. Brilliant save, tipped over the crossbar from the Newsham goalkeeper. And I can tell you, there's not enough time for the corner to be taken. The final whistle has sounded, and it's points lost. Cracky, with Watson out for months, as well. I really got to worry there. Points lost. We see now the next day in the physio room, Bates confirms that Watson will actually be out for 6 weeks, whilst Terry Evans and Tim Stevens have knocks. But Bates is telling Joe that he feels that they should be okay. And I do love this. I mean, a little bit different for those of you that are more familiar with the Roy of the Rovers, because there were the extra pages. We're kind of, told this is, the match was on a Wednesday. This is a Thursday. So we're on the Thursday. Joe gets back to his office, and he's got an amazing phone call. His secretary says there's a phone call for him. And can you believe it's from a Champ reader, Chris Marlowe? And Chris Marlowe tells Joe Pearson that he's a great United fan, and he read the story about Tug's son, and he says that he's seen him looking out of a window of a house near where he lives. So Joe gets his secretary, Miss Dobbs, to contact the police immediately. Miss Dobbs, though, when Joe had come in, she'd informed him about the phone call, but said that the board were also waiting to see Joe. So Joe goes up to the boardroom after leaving Miss Dobbs to phone the police, and we see that Tug's there with the board members, and we can see that the club chairman has agreed that after Tug has said that he can raise half of the ransom money, that the club will pay the other half of the ransom money. However, it must be kept a secret, as half the football clubs in the country will be held to ransom, which I sort of do like
just
that.
Imagine tens and tens of kids just being kidnapped all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly. So Tug leaves the boardroom, but Joe has kind of mentioned that there has been a lead, and that fantastic Chris Marlowe, that United Champ reader. Chris, if you are a listener or a viewer on YouTube, please get in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you. But Joe's asked to stay in the boardroom, and the board are now showing concern at the Newsham result. And Pearson says that there are 8 games to go, and that's 24 points. If we win them all, and he reckons even 19 out of 24 points would get get United promotion. But one board member thinks that that's a tall order, and if they continue to play like they did against Newsham, and then he sort of says, we thought you were the man to put us there, as in return to the top league. Pearson challenges the board if they've changed their minds to say so. The chairman straight away, easy Joe, no need to fly off the handle. We're all just a little upset after last night's defeat. You've still got the board's support. Quite interesting though, another board member pipes up, though, whatever happens, you are here to the end of the season. Wow. We see Joe Pearson leave the boardroom, and I think he's obviously thinking what we're probably all thinking, and he's thought bubble. And if we don't go up, I'm out. They didn't exactly say it, but it sure sounded like it. And I have to say my sentiments with Joe there as well. So we've got all that amazing story with Tug Wilson, and we see the club, in all fairness to them, they're back in Tug, but once it comes to the football, it looks like they're ready to be quite ruthless. And as for those of you that are familiar, the United story is in two halves, and that's the end of the first half in the comic. So we move to the second half of the story in this edition, and like I said, now we're informed it's Friday and it's the training session at the Mill, and we see Josh Cupperty. It's fantastic, this. We see Bill Shenton save a shot, and Josh Cupperty's on it like a flash, and he fires it in, and it just misses Shenton's head. And Shenton, if you remember, we said in the last issue, had a few words. He's losing his cool. He's shouting it to you, trying to put me in hospital, shooting from that distance. And Joe tells Shenton that he'd instructed Cupper to knock in any loose balls. Shenton once more ranting at Pearson. You never stand up for me, Pearson. I'm the key player in the team. I need protection. I've had offers, you know. I could move on. This is a fantastic piece of artwork, I've got to say, and in the panel. And we see Joe, he's looking back at Shenton, and he's got a massive grin on his face, Joe Pearson, and he's smiling, and he says, take it easy, Bill. You know United need you, and don't call me Pearson. Make it boss like everyone else. I mean, Joe really is. So I think he's settling in nicely into the managerial role at United. And he's kind of laying the law down, but I think in quite a respectful way. Joe now has decided he needs to turn his attention to the fullback, David Belton, who would really struggled in that match against Newsham, and he's got Terry Evans going against the youngster. And to be quite honest, Terry Evans is just skinning the youngster all the time. Again, we see fabulous artwork. The youngster's just not there, and we see Joe. He's thought bubble. He's just thinking to himself, I don't think he'll ever be ready for first team action, but at least Evans looks okay after his knock. So I don't know what Joe's going to be there, but can you believe training is broken up? Tug Wilson's running onto the Pitchford Tunnel. Woohoo! Yoo-hoo! They've got him. They've got Kevin back. Oh, it's great news.
He's like David Pleat, isn't he?
Yes, yes, actually, brilliant view. If those of you remember David Pleat running onto the pitch celebrating survival on the last day. Yeah. And so great news. The players obviously are all round Tug. They're patting him on the back. And of course, there's smiles on everybody's faces and the relief is clear for everyone. And obviously, that's fantastic news that young Kevin is back safe and home. So that's brilliant stuff. And like I said, and I do enjoy this, now we move to the next panel and there's a caption above and it tells us it's now Friday afternoon, if we haven't quite figured that out. So we've moved to the afternoon and we see Joe in his office with Andy Bates, and there's a newspaper there and it's a massive headline: United boss Joe Pearson promises promotion. And Andy Bates just can't believe Pearson gave the quote. Joe tells him, of course he didn't. That quote came direct from the boardroom. Anyway, Joe hands Bates the team sheet, with Bates confirming that Evans and Tim Stevens are fit. Stevens coming through a late fitness test. The shock news is, though, that Pearson has picked himself to replace Tug in the team. And as the team's pinned up, sorry, excuse me. As the team's pinned up, we see the usual banter between Terry Evans and Benny Granger. Evans saying United must be hard up playing Benny. But there is one player as the players huddled around looking quite concerned and walking away, a bit disconsolate from the team sheet. And it's GG Green, looking very disappointed. He's been named a sub, but he thought he would be in with Larry Watson being injured. But the boss has gone with a young Duncan Fraser. So I'll just quickly go through that team sheet. So for Saturday's game against Sandwell City, so we've got Shenton in goal, a back four of Stokes, Pearson, Granger and Stevens. Obviously, Granger and Stevens being the centre backs. And it's three midfielders, Hedgehog Jones, Fred Rimmy, captain, and Duncan Fraser, obviously, although United lost, making a very great debut appearance. And up front, we've got Evans and Josh T out on the wings, and Willie Barnes is back in the centre. And as I said, the sub is GG Green. Before we move to the match, though, I'm just going to go back to the opening page and read a little bit, see, that Sandwell description.
Yeah.
So we were informed that Sandwell were staring relegation in the face just after Christmas when they languished fourth from bottom, but a run of 5 consecutive victories in February have lifted them into mid-table. And the man responsible for the turnaround is striker Kevin McDermott, scoring 7 in those 5 games. And the description says that defenders Stevens and Grangers will have to keep a tight rein on the free scoring forward. So we move on, and again, I like this. We've got in between the panels in kind of bold, it's Saturday and it's March the 31st, and it's United at home to Sandwell City. In the dressing room, Joe's in front of the team, and he says, "You all know the story by now, lads. We've got 8 league games to go, and we need to win 6, possibly 7 to go up. But we can do it. We're United." And we move on to the action, and Joe's soon in the action, showing his experience. He's crowded by Sandwell players, but he's calmly holding them off. And I found this interesting. It kind of shocked me when I looked at this earlier on the highlights reel. He calmly lays the ball back to Shenton, a back pass, and of course Shenton picks it up, because of course we are back in the days before the old back pass rule, but in the old days, those experienced defenders there, and so he calmly lays the ball back to Shenton, and we can see Shenton shouting out, "What a treat to play with a man who knows the game after the inexperienced kids I've been lumbered with." And the match moves on, and United are now beginning to knock the ball around in style. And the new young Scot, Duncan Fraser, is showing tremendous strength and skill in the midfield, power and skill. But Sandwell, though, they're not content to sit back and they defend, and they're putting United under pressure. And we see an attack, and Shenton save that he's on his knees, but the ball's fired in. Oh, Pearson once again showing his experience on the goal line, heading off the line. Amazing defender from the player manager there, really showing his experience. And as the match moves on, we see a long ball upfield from Shenton. Hedgehog Jones is flicking it on in the air for Terry Evans. Evans, he's on it like a flash. What a goal! What a finish from the Welsh Wizard. The United fans are chanting, "There's only one Terry Evans." And I have to say, you can't argue with a goal like that. What crikey. Top corner. The keeper, the Sandwell keeper, didn't have a chance. And the think bubble, of course, from Terry Evans. And another piece of Terry Evans' brilliance has the crowd on their feet as he thinks to himself. He doesn't struggle with his confidence. And the action moves on. And we're Willie Barnes, he's got his confidence back. He's headed United 2 up. It's a great goal. He's returning to form, and hopefully at the right time for United. The match moves into the second half, and we can see United are on top. They've definitely taken control of this game. And Willie Barnes strikes again with 5 minutes to go to secure a 3-0 victory for United. Fantastic result. And at the panels and the action we see in the crowd, we see Tug Wilson with his son, and we're informed his new friend, Chris Marlowe, the lad that spotted Kevin in the house and tipped Joe Pearson off. And Joe Pearson, Bill Shenton asks who it is. Bo Pearson saying, of course, he's United's guest for the day, and of course, he saved the club a small fortune by finding Kevin. And we do like to mention, unfortunately, the Podfather's not with us. I think he only mentioned it once and got away with it about him being in. But I do like to mention, because I think Goal managed to get two panels. Chris Marlowe gets 3 panels in this edition of Champ, writing in to appear. But also, I've got to give the writers of the comic, really, they've interwoven Chris Marlowe into the story brilliantly there, and made him a big part. Obviously helping to get Kevin back.
So sorry, Paul. Just before, so you reckon when we get to week 32, we might have Goal, like, aren't they, saving somebody, or tipping off to the police or something like that?
The way, I'll be honest with you, I mean, obviously some spoiler alerts, although funny enough, I'm going to come on to some spoiler alerts in a minute. But I mean, the way Goal, the Podfather, goes on, I mean, he must be a major player in that story. I mean,
I reckon he's going to have that.
Don't know whether it's me or Simo, but it'd be really interesting. Yeah, it'd be really interesting to relay what an impact he has.
I think he had a sign, please.
Is there sign, please?
Sign, please. Yeah. And we're at the last panel, and the fans are obviously jubilant, and they're singing that we're the greatest and we are United, and they're singing Joe Pearson's name. We see Joe walking off the pitch, but his think bubble is, yes, they're cheering me now, but what happens if our promotion drive runs out of steam? My head will be on the block. And so it's very interesting. But like I say, spoiler alert here, but this is actually in the comic, Underneath that, then, in capital letters, and shocks galore next week. United go 2 goals down at halftime. Then a penalty is awarded against us. It looks like we're going to lose 3 vital promotion points. A bit of a spoiler alert there. But that's how the story ends in that issue. But before we move on in this podcast, if you just move on a page, I did think it would be interesting to just mention this, because again, these one of the things that I think Champ and DC Thompson did quite well. There is actually on the back page of this edition of United, there's a chance to win the United Goal of the Month competition, and there's 5 Halex match footballs to be won, and we see
50, isn't it? Is it 50?
50.
Sorry, 50 match balls to be won. And
wow.
It's just great. We've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 panels of goals, and you get to choose or submit what you think is your goal of the month. And I love
clever.
that. I love that
so
feature.
Clever.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. It's really good.
Thanks for pointing that out, tangential. But what I like as well, going back to the previous page, is that it's said in the first person, isn't it? Then a penalty is awarded against us.
Yeah.
It looks like we're.
Yeah.
So it's like almost as if the reader is part of
that. As we've said, the whole
United fan.
Yeah, exactly. It's all done. And again, I mean, obviously, go on to too long, but as well, at the beginning of the comic, when I said it, which is the one thing that really drew me to the story rather than the Roy the Rovers. You know what I found different. You had the description on the opponents, but again, it's like we're away to, and and it shows the matches coming up, and it really is. But like you say, the whole comic is getting you as the reader to really feel a fan of this club. It really is written really well for that. Yeah.
I like the way the goalkeeper calls him boss as well during the match, not Pearson.
Yeah. He got the message from the training session, didn't he, Bygone? Right. Well, there you go. I don't know if I whizzed through that, but next pod we'll be up to issue number 8 of Champ. I think we're getting through there, and thankfully the good news there is obviously Tug's son's back, and which is great news. And United have got another 3 points in the bag, and obviously pushing for their promotion push. Well, as I like to do, moving briskly on, it's over to you, Bygone, and another holiday special. Although actually, I think the same holiday special, but maybe a different story.
Yeah, it's the same holiday special, the Tiger holiday special from 1984, which has got another small little story, just another couple of pages, but this one, and now I'm going to cause probably a little ripple in the community, because I've always pronounced it Hot Shot Hamish, not Hamish.
Yeah, you have, haven't you? Oh my God!
I've got
it's Mackay all over again.
Mackay all over again, yeah.
And I don't want to upset our Scottish listeners anymore by doing any accents tonight. So I'm not going to do Daddy's accent.
Oh, come on. Can you see it on the screen? Can you see it on the screen? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We all know in our heads what Hot Shot Hamish, and it is Hamish for the next 10 minutes. What Hamish and Mighty Moose. I was
Mighty Moose.
You didn't, did you?
No.
Mighty Chocolate Moose.
Yeah. What could I do with Mighty Chocolate Moose now?
Hot Shot Hamish, and I must admit, when I texted you earlier on to tell you which one I was doing, it did come up as Hot Shit Hamish.
Hot shit.
Oh, gosh.
So
right, Bygone, come on, concentrate on your feature now.
I'm just saying, I predicted text in 1984, so everyone was fine. Anyway, so this story, it's just as I say, it's a lovely little story. It's where Hotshot Hamish has gone back to his island home back in the Hebrides to see his dad, and it says Hamish Bashflower is a member of Princess Park in the
Sorry,
Scottish
sorry.
Premier.
Say that again. Hamish what?
Yeah.
Balfour.
Oh, do you know what? That's another thing. I thought it was Baffler.
No, it's Balfour.
I've created my own little story. I know that.
You have,
I
yeah.
know what it is now. When I'm older,
I'll tell
when
you
I
what,
was younger,
Duncan Mackay, Durrell's Paris, Durrell's Palace. We're at it, aren't
That's
we?
what we used to call it. Hamish Baffler. That's what it was. Balfour. Okay then. I'll conform. Hamish Balfour.
Can I just apologise to Mutton and the whole of
Yeah,
the Balfour
exactly.
family?
Any relatives of Hamish who's listening to this,
Go on. You read it how you see it. Go on.
It's how
Go
I
on, mate.
said it.
We're
Everyone's got
going to be getting
Right.
letters from the Princess Park fans supporters club as well, I tell you.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Hotshot Hamish Balfour was a member of Princess Park. I've said that right, haven't I?
Yeah.
In the
Yep.
Scottish Premier Division. In the summer months, the big man liked to return to his island home in the Hebrides. So he's gone back home, as he does in a lot of the annuals as well, and the summer
He was at
specials.
home a lot, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, obviously he
In
missed
the
it, didn't
annuals
he?
and
I
the
think,
specials, yeah.
yeah, if you read the early versions of the story with Hotshot Hamish, it was in the book that I've got when they released that hardback annually, he was quite homesick a lot as well. So he did
Yeah.
like
In the early
going
days,
home as
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's saying it's good to be back on the island home, Daddy. It's so nice and peaceful. And the dad's like, yeah, it is, laddie. Come into my cottage and I'll cook you some supper. And I never trust the dad. I always think he's got something planned. He's always got something lined
Yeah.
up where he's going to make money off his son and things like that.
Yeah,
So,
true.
um, so the next scene is where he's obviously sat and he's had a fine meal with his dad, and he says, "I love the football fans, Daddy, but it's a treat to get away from all the cheering and the crowds for a wee while." And the dad's making a roaring fire in the summer, so it must be really cold up there in the Hebrides.
The
And he says,
Hebrides, yeah.
"You get off to bed, and I'll see to the washing up." But then next thing it's like early in the morning, and Hamish is fast asleep in his bed, and he can hear pling plong music playing, boom boom tra. And as he looks out of his window, there's like a camper van outside, and it's a young lad playing music really loud. And Hamish is like, "You can't park there." And his the dad's saying, "You leave my boy alone. He's a musician, you see." And he's just lay there, this big lump of a man who looks about the same size as Hamish. And when they both go down to speak to him, Daddy says, "My son says you can't park here, and he's hot shot Amish." And he says, "Shut." And the lad says to him, "Soft shot Sydney more like. I can kick harder than him." And he says, "You tell him, Dad." Now, in the whole of the story, unless I've read it wrong, you don't find out the name of this chap. All he's known and his dad. The son just calls him Dad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there's these two big men now arguing with each other, and then they get face to face, and it's got a really angry looking Hamish
It's
because it doesn't take
superb
long.
artwork, isn't it? Yeah,
It's
yeah, that is
superb.
brilliant.
It's I think it's Shifiano, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Schifino,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Chiefino,
yeah.
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 But it doesn't take much for Hamish to get angry, does it? And passionate. Um, so the next thing you know, this big man's challenging him to a football shooting match. And he calls Hamish a big mouth, and Hamish replies with, "You're on loudmouth." So straight away they're at each other. So Hamish says, "First thing tomorrow morning, we're going to have a hot shot competition." And the daddy says, "If Hamish wins, you clear off, okay?" And they're saying he's got no chance of winning this hot shot match for me. So all day in the evening, the pipes are playing outside. This music playing, and Hamish has got his head in his hands, and he's saying, "Oh, there we are."
That's
Oh,
what, just to interrupt there. It's got in the yeah, you can hear it, and it's like the music is going, the pipes of peace.
Yeah.
yeah.
Now that's got to be referring to Paul McCartney here.
Right.
Oh,
The pipes
Yeah.
of,
Well,
but
didn't
it's
Paul McCartney live up that way? Didn't he?
well,
Sing a song?
yeah,
Mulligan whatever it
that was
was.
on the other, isn't the Hebrides on the other side? But yeah, so I'm
Well,
thinking
it might be,
because
but it's
this is 1984. That was released in '83. Pipes of,
yeah.
it just seems like a weird choice of song though,
No, I
because
think
it's
it's
not like it's a
It's
bang bang
sung,
ironic.
yeah.
dance hit.
No, I think
It's
it's an ironic tune
Oh no,
because
the
no, no.
pipes
Hold
of
on.
peace.
The
Yeah,
pipes
because
of
of peace.
peace.
Right.
But
well, they're
it's the
both
fourth
they're arguing,
solo
aren't they?
studio album by English singer-songwriter Paul McCartney, released on the 31st of October, 1983.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, there
But what
was,
I'm
but
saying is
Yeah.
he's
yeah,
playing it
so
ironically, aren't they? Because
Yeah,
they're
no,
not
I
actually
know, but
it's played
it
loud.
is weird though, right?
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Sorry,
Anyway,
go on,
so
carry on.
Hotshot Amish has got his head in his hands and he's like, "Oh." Why do they have to play it so loud? They drive me up the wall. And Daddy's just sat there chilled, saying, "Dinner worry, laddie. You'll win the shooting match easily tomorrow, and then they'll leave defeated." Now I don't know what happens if they won, the other man, because did they get to stay there forever? I don't know.
So
There's
No,
no
there was no. Well, because we're
yeah,
confident Hotshot's going to win it,
yeah,
right? That's
confident,
the thing.
yeah. But that it's never that plain sailing. And at midnight, Hotshot Hamish is fast asleep in his little bed, and the man and the son. I don't even know. I'll just call him the dad, but I don't want to get confused
Yeah.
with Daddy. The dad and the son have opened up the window, and he's got a lovely fishing rod, and he's looks like he's picking up Hotshot Hamish's boots, which is
Boots.
just
Yeah.
laying on the table. A nice pair of Adidas, it looks like as well.
yeah.
Yeah, they
Pinstripe.
are.
And he said, "I just want," and the dad's saying, "You've got him, Dad." And the dad's saying, "I just want to make sure I don't accidentally lose tomorrow." So he's not as confident as he's making out, but just to make sure he does win, he's going to nick his boots. And he's hammering a few nails into him where they'll do most damage. And the son says, "I'm sure that he'll get the point, Dad." Ha ha.
Ho,
So
ho,
he's going to
ho,
hammer
ho.
them nails in that to them boots. So when that shot puts his feet in them, they'll all be painful.
Mm.
So on the next day, it's a lovely day, crisp day. There's like seagulls in the sky, and
Yeah,
the both men
beautiful.
are just sat there. Hotshot Hamish has got full kit on because he must bring it with him because you never know what
Yeah.
Daddy's up to,
When
challenging.
you say full kit, I mean he's got
Well,
like a
the half top.
muffin top.
You
Yeah,
Yeah, the
know,
half
kind
top.
of
and
crop top. Yeah, yeah.
I love their kit Princess Part.
Oh
I
yeah,
thought it was
brilliant,
Part. Yeah,
a great
iconic.
kit
that's
that beat,
very
and it's the
Yeah,
same as Rick Stewart's team, Oakhampton. They
yep,
played with a and the
yep,
shirt I'm wearing tonight.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
The
That
Rovers
had a
one, the
V on it
McDonald's
as
one.
well. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
Whereas I
yeah.
can't think of many teams, real life teams, so to say,
No,
where teams had V's in the shirt. A lot of rugby teams maybe, but not football.
Yeah, no, you're right. Rugby, I can
Well,
think
I did
of.
like it. I love Princess Park shirt, especially when Mighty Mouse had it on Mighty Moose. Sorry.
the Mighty Moose.
Yeah. So anyway, they're setting up the rules, and there's two signs, and one says "Welcome to the Hebrides," and the other one says "Eat at McTucker's Cafe." And the man's pointing out, and he says, "Right, three shots each. The first one to knock one of those signboards wins." And Hotshot says, "Okay, then you go first." So he runs up, takes a shot, whack, hits the board, and he says, "Wow, that's bent it." And then Hotshot realizes, he's good. This isn't going to be a pushover. So Hotshot Amish runs up, hits his ball, and he goes, "Oh, my toe." And everyone's going, "Rubbish. He can't kick the ball, Dad." And the ball just bounces away innocently. So up steps the man again, smack, hits the board, and the board nearly comes down. And the daddy's looking at Hotshot going, "What's wrong, laddie?" And Amish says, "My boot's on fire." And as he's saying this, the man takes another shot, whack. "That's it, I've won. Go and turn up the radio, son. The signs come down." And he says, "You've knocked it down in three shots. Magic, Dad." And they're all both jumping about. So then Hotshot Amish is looking at his daddy and he says, "Someone's knocked nails into the toe of my boot. No wonder it hurt." And then the daddy clicks and says, "You've been robbed, Hamish, and we know who did it." And then they're shouting at the man and the boy, "You're a cheat. I've still got two shots left." And he says, "Nope, I knocked the post over first, so I've won. Hop it. You can't kick for toffee, mate." So Hamish, the rage comes over him, that rage he always used to have when he was cheated out of something, and he takes his first shot with his socks on, and the first shot knocks the lad and the son into the caravan, and he says, one of the little lads just shouting, "Stop it, Dad, you're pushing me," not realizing that he's been smacked up the bum with this big ball. Next thing you know, he runs up with his socked foot again, and he hits the second shot, smack, and it hits the back of the caravan, and it shoves it off the edge of a cliff again.
It's another
Dangerous.
cliff. It's always
Yeah, yeah.
cliffs.
It's a
Yeah.
cliff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Never park a
off the cliff.
caravan near the edge of a
Hopefully,
cliff if Hotshot
hopefully.
Hamish is in the
Billy
area.
Dane's not playing football down there.
I think the
I know he
tide's
was
in.
down
I think
south
he's
at one point.
drowned, Billy
Yeah,
Dane.
well, not with them because he probably had dead shots flippers or something. But anyway, the ball hits the back of the camper van and they go flying off the edge of the cliff. And the daddy proudly says, "Right, that's it. They've left." And then Hotshot Amish makes a little joke and he says, "We've got the drop on them, Daddy."
Ho, ho, ho.
Then the next scene, the little caravanette or whatever it is, the camper van, is just floating away in the distance. And Hotshot shouts, "Sit tight, the tide will take you to the mainland. And don't come back or I'll knock a few nails into the pair of you, you twisters." And then the scene at the end just finishes it off lovely. Hotshot Hamish and Daddy are both lay there in the colourful pants, taking the rays of the sun. And not Hamish says, "This is what I like about our island home, Daddy. It's the peace and the quiet." And the daddy says, "Aye, nothing much ever happens here." And it's a nice little story. There's not too much football in it. There's no match played.
No.
Again, these boots last week. There was no goals scored. But again, it's a nice little summer story, I think, which suits well in this little Tiger summer special. I think I'm going to end up doing a full review on this summer special. I've really enjoyed reading it.
Do you know what's got me again though, Bygone? If you just go back, and again, is this is just 3 pages, or is this four? It's just 3 pages again.
3 pages again.
It's amazing. It's just 3 pages. And the other thing that got me, because of course I learnt my lesson from the last pod. Again, though, in the corner there is no the end box,
No,
which always
all right.
tickles me for some
There
reason.
isn't on any of the stories in this issue, unless I've not, because one's a Skid solo story. It's quite long.
Mm.
It's like top story that doesn't end with the end either. And then there's a great strongman story, as I said to you
Last
as
week,
well.
Victor Boskovich's
With
brother.
Hector. Yeah,
But that's fantastic, actually. So you've covered 2 stories now from that edition,
yeah.
Billy's Boots last pod and this Hotshot Hamish one. But what I found amazing, actually, they're really neat stories, but just like 3 pages, and it's brilliant that they've got a nice
so
couple
much
of nice
into
little
it.
stories in such
Yeah.
a short space, right?
It's a really great. I've got the year after as well. I might just in the build up some summer holidays. I'll just review a couple of the summer specials to get us in the mood. Like you said, I might become Judith Chalmers. Might get the Dad.
Oh dear, I tell you what, Bygone, we can't be adding any more. It's bad enough trying to introduce you with Grandad Gangster Certy Brinsden Bygone Berrigan without
Well,
Judith
that's why I didn't want to
Chambers and wish you were here as well. Crikey.
didn't want to get a Scottish accent on either because I'm rubbish at doing my own, like I say. But yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I think it's a lovely. I mean, when you're on holiday, and I love getting a holiday special. I still get excited when I see them for sale and things like that. They are one of my weaknesses. But when you're on holiday, that's all you need. You want just a quick little story, and you pick up the holiday. You'd make it last for 2 weeks. You wouldn't read it in one go. It'd be like in little chunks.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though it's 3 pages, a lot of action packed in there. Yeah.
No, brilliant. Well, fantastic. Nice one, Bygone. Again, another story from that holiday special. I definitely do think that you're going to be probably end up reviewing the whole of that holiday special over the pods. But I mean, yeah,
I think I might do
great.
Strongman next because I really like reading that as well, and I like Victor.
So all this, you give it the big one, like you've got loads of comics and stuff. You've only got
It's got 2 holiday specials.
It's got 2
holiday specials.
No,
and they're all. Do you know what it is, Mute? Just to don't a spoiler alert for all the listeners. So we can, because we are moving into collector's corner. So this will come up. So Bygone actually has just got 2 editions. They're 2 Tiger holiday specials, and every story is just a 3-pager. But there's enough to keep him going for the next 50 pods if he just reviews them, and then it seems like he's got a wonderful collection. So with that
all the
segue,
names are pronounced incorrectly.
Yeah, exactly. So stretch it out. Right. So I think we did a collector's corner in the last pod. I'm going to have to come clean and say, well, I will reveal one thing. I was speaking to the podfather, and he let us know about his 2000 AD collection, and through oh crikey, I found an auction site, and it's very interesting. There's an auction on currently at the moment, and I was just perusing it, shall we say, and in the comic collections it just says that assorted comics, and I was clicking on the pictures and I was scrolling through the pictures, and of course Goal had mentioned that he was missing episodes, issues 17 and 19 of Roy the Rovers Monthly, which was the comic launched after when the weekly finished. And I saw 17 in the picture, so I thought, well, I need to let Goal know about that. And then actually, as I was going through the pictures, I did manage to notice that actually issue 19 is there as well. But I'm a little bit skeptical on some of these. This is a proper auction site, so what's on the pictures hopefully will be included. But there is no itinerary. There's no actual list of the comics, and it's a real assorted, eclectic mix. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't know. I mean, Mask. There were loads of Mask comics in there. I think there were a couple of Crunches and things like that. I saw some Victors, but obviously from Goal, and it does look And do you know what? I can't actually find it at the moment what the name of the auction site is. But of course, as well, we've got to be careful because we all end up bidding against each other as well, which we need to be careful of. But that auction is actually finishing or taking place on Monday. But it also looks like there is every edition of the Royal Rovers Monthly. So Goal is putting in some bids there. So hopefully Goal will complete his Royal Rovers Monthlies there. Just to let you know, I'm taking a bit of a break. I've looked at my finances and decided I need a little bit of a break and reassess things before I add to my collection at the moment.
Oh, can I just check? Because I mean, for people that are not watching this, but people
Yeah.
listening on the podcast, on Spotify and Apple and
Yeah.
stuff like that, why are there men carrying sofas out behind you and TVs and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And they're taking your car off the drive, I think. I think that's your. So,
The-
is there a
I
problem with
have
bailiffs? Do you want to say something you
I
want to tell
have
us?
an
or-
agreement that the furniture and the car can go, but don't touch my comic collection.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
might have mentioned the last 300 Valiants or whatever it was I purchased. Yeah, let's just say I did a dodgy deal with a shady character. I think I need to speak to Grandad Surtee and maybe get the boys round to give me a hand.
I think you're going to be standing up soon because I think one of the guys is going to nick
Yeah,
your
he's just
chair.
going to take me chair. Yeah, yeah. Well, and now you know why I've been keeping a brisk pace in this pod.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So-
Sorry. Yeah. Go on. Keep going.
Well, that's it for me from Collector's Corner. So, which one of you wants to pipe
Shall I
up?
go?
They've
And
been,
then I
yeah,
can
go
finish
for it.
with
Yep.
with Bygone with his stuff. Okay. So
With
I
these 2 holiday specials.
just bought another one, the 1986 one. So I went to a boot sale last Sunday. So I got a look-in annual,
Oh wow!
1980. Yeah, 1982 actually look-in annual. No football stories in there. Black Beauty, Metal
Yes, I
Mickey.
remember Black Beauty.
But
Metal Mickey.
yeah.
Hey.
Then I've got an action annual,
Oh
1979
wow!
annual.
That's interesting. Is there any Lefty or is there the football story? Oh, look at
Okay.
that! Look out
Look
for
at that.
Lefty!
Showing a look
Fantastic.
at Lefty on the screen. Tony
Yep.
Harding, obviously the artist there.
Yep.
Absolutely iconic. Might do that actually for a future
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
Look out for Lefty. And I've got a Hotspur annual,
Oh, nice.
1983.
1983. It's amazing.
Very
Sorry,
cool.
just going off on a slight tangent to think that those Hotspur annuals were still going then. I mean, the comic had
Yeah.
long finished before 1983, hadn't it?
Years
I
old.
think
Yeah.
it finished in 81.
Oh,
But
right, okay.
yeah,
But
yeah. I can't remember.
Yeah,
I could,
yeah.
But I mean, these were quite good because at the start of the boot sale, the guy wanted to sell them for £2 each. So
Right.
I went and walked around the rest of it, came back £1.50 each.
Oh, wow, brilliant.
That one's
Price
got
drop of 50 pence.
look at that. And that's got a Dozy Danny in it.
Dozy Danny. No, I don't. I'm not familiar with that story actually. That's an interesting.
It's about a kid called Danny who dozes a lot.
Right, but plays football, obviously.
Yeah. And then finally, I got the Victor 1974 annual,
nice,
showing that on the
nice.
screen. This has got a football story in there. It's got Santa had twinkling toes, showing that up on the screen there.
That's
Santa
interesting.
So I might do that at Christmas
I
time.
must admit, it's very, very interesting because I'm not sure I've even got any Victor annuals actually, which might come as a surprise to a lot of the listeners because annuals is something that in my collection I haven't got too many of. But like that story, football story there, I can't say that I recognise it from the Victor comics. So I wonder sometimes in the Victor annuals if they were just one-off, provisioned stories, which is quite interesting.
I'm pretty sure it's a one-off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. As you know, I've listed all the Victor football stories, and
Yeah.
that's not there.
Yeah, that was
And
not
obviously, when you think about annuals were released like October time, ready for the Christmas market. So a lot of boys were picking this up underneath the Christmas tree, opening it, and then you got a Christmas story in there. So
yeah, brilliant. I mean, as we know, we've mentioned it in like the Roy the Rovers annuals. I mean, I know they often with the Roy the Rovers story later at times they made the FA Cup third round the story in the annual. And so they list it sometimes in the comic, and it was covered in the annual. And of course, a lot of the other stories which we've mentioned, I can't remember what issue it was, but that's how I first write Millionaire Villa.
Mm.
You know, I didn't realise
Yes.
that it was
It
a
was
reprint. You know, and
yeah.
they were often did reprints, didn't they? And because of course a lot of people at the time, there'd have been reprints from stories like me. When I read that, I didn't know that that had actually been a story in the comic until years later when I started my collection.
Yeah, I know it's but yeah, so that's what I got last week. That's my collector's
Brilliant,
corner. Yeah, over
nice,
to Judith Chalmers.
yeah.
Yeah, so
So I
I,
was in Miami, and can you believe I found this Tiger Holiday special?
God, was you in there looking through a book as well? I'm not gonna I'm not gonna go there this week.
No,
Anyway,
just not.
oh, I've not brought all mine into the office with me because there is quite a lot. Well, because obviously I had a birthday recently, so I've got
Oh
a
yeah,
very
happy
little.
Yeah,
birthday to
yeah.
yeah. Thanks for mentioning it
Happy
on the
birthday,
show, so you can
Bygone.
get
Yeah,
loads of gifts sent in by the listeners. Good
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
thanks.
idea.
Exactly. Well done,
I've not.
listeners. Much appreciated by Grandad, and he is to the age of a granddad now.
Yeah, I've not. Yeah. Um, I've not gone through the sack yet of all the gifts that was donated to me, but I have due to as we've touched upon earlier. Um, I've been in touch with a chap called Phil Cole who's kindly said that he has got a spare copy of episode 176 of the Football Picture Story Monthlies. Been in touch with him, so that may complete my collection. I've
Brilliant.
also
Brilliant.
promised to go through my collection and see if I've got any doubles that he might require. Um, I have. So just to start, then there was a chap on my local Facebook marketplace called Craig Lucas who was selling some Tiger comics from a complete year in 1981 and more or less complete year for 1982. And I bought both years. He was selling both of them for £10 each for each year.
Wow,
Um,
£10 each for a whole year.
for a year. So I was like,
Brilliant.
I thought
Wow.
it was really, and I asked him like why, and he said when I got in touch with him, he just said, "Can you just tell me one thing?" He says, "Are you going to read them or are you a dealer?" And I said, "No." I explained about the podcast and I said, "I'm really looking forward to reading them." I said, "I don't buy to sell on." And I've not got none of these, so I said I'd give him a shout out, and
No,
he's got,
fantastic.
you've got his name wrote on the top in pencil,
Yeah, oh,
so
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you have
brilliant.
that
yeah,
direct contact, and I promised
yeah.
to look after him and look after them, and
Oh,
uh,
brilliant.
they
You say
really.
you say
So,
you say that you say it, Neil, but you told me earlier it's 50 quid and I can have them.
I wouldn't screw anybody
Oh, I
over.
say sorry. We're recording now, so okay, yeah.
yeah,
All
No,
you
right,
know,
that's
I'm a nice
yeah.
guy.
well,
Yeah, I don't want to get done for trading.
Do you know what? And I'm not going to say any names,
Yeah,
but it's quite funny that I've bought from some collectors, but they've moved into the kind of they are collectors, but deal as well and
yeah,
make money. And I have used it, but like we've said before, I've possibly paid at times a little bit, maybe over the odds.
yeah.
But
And I
it's
think,
rough and smooth. But it does become a bit of a grey area, I think.
yeah,
And some of these people, they're just trying to recoup the money that they've spent as well, right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, I understand that, but I'd never try and scalp anybody,
No,
No,
no, no,
no,
no,
no,
and
no,
things like
no.
that.
Fair,
Just try
fair.
if I have
That's an amazing
doubles,
deal.
because if
I,
it is a double, you usually sell the one that's not of as good quality. So
yeah,
obviously,
yeah, that's right. I
yeah,
mean, just sorry, one last thing on that. I think one of the things some of the people that I've dealt with that are more, it's not fair, but like say maybe deal in the dealing side rather than just the collecting though. I mean, the conversations that I've had is often what they do is they'll look at kind of comics around the era and what they are going an average price sort of on
yeah.
eBay.
Mm.
So they kind of use eBay as a bit of a market price. And I'm not sorry, I've forgotten the gentleman's name there, but £10 for a complete year of those years in Tiger. I mean, that is
No, he
absolutely astonishing and a fantastic,
said he'd had others as
fantastic deal.
well. He said I really felt for him because he had shoots. He's got complete years of shoots. He said, but nobody's interested in shoot for some reason. And he said
Well,
he said he had Tiger number one as well. And I was like, really? And I went, where, what did you do? And he said, oh, said one of my friends has sold it. So I said, what did they get for it? And
yeah.
I don't want to say the price because he thought it was a good deal, but I don't think it. I don't
Oh
think it
Don't
was
dear.
tell
that long.
Paul. Don't tell
No, no,
Paul.
don't.
Don't
Because again,
mention
well,
it.
don't
Don't
tell
mention
him
it.
because in all honesty, and I mentioned again one of the guys, the dealer that I
Yeah,
said. So again, talking, and I'm not going to mention the name, but he went onto eBay and there was a lady, an elderly lady.
I remember
Unfortunately,
saying
her
this.
husband had passed away, and he travelled down to Devon, and he, she had them on for a ridiculous price, and he did give her like extra money because of the value. And
Oh,
yes, he sold them on, but like you said, he didn't scalp her. He said, no, look,
No, but this
these
chap,
editions are worth
yeah,
a lot more than what she had. And she had them all. Well, she would basically a ridiculous
mm, but
price.
that was a lovely guy. I went and met him and had a good chat with him about the
oh, brilliant.
Tiger and different things like that. He's a really nice chap. And
Just
I've got to say, sorry.
before, sorry, just on that though, you mentioned about the shoot, and it won't be his whole collection, but there is somebody, maybe the Podfather or Goal, if he's got a complete year of shoot 1994 to 95, I certainly know one person that would be interested because,
Oh,
and a lot of people from this pod would be, because of course that year the Roy the Rover story was in fact in shoot.
I think I have got a feeling that they might be all like early 80s more than
Yeah,
the
well,
late.
that's
But
fine.
I'll
But
ask him.
just thought I'd
Um,
mention it because
Yeah, I said I'd keep in touch with him. But yeah, so I've got them as presents, and again, Craig, thank you very much. And then I've got some Tiger 1974 comics, March to June, which the time it was Tiger and Jag. Um, and I got them when I was on my day to Morecambe from the Old Pier Bookshop.
Yep.
So I've
I
gonna match
definitely
them.
got to speak to you about this bookshop
Yep,
because I need to send you a
yeah,
list because
the little
I
treasure trove of
think they're the
place.
ones that aren't there. There's a whole load that I'm missing from that era.
Right. As I say, yeah. So I'm going to match them up with my digital copies and read the full. Yes, I'm going to start from 74. And we work my way up with them, and there again, they're like really, really good copy editions as well. They're clean and crisp, been well looked
Mm.
after. And then I've got a couple of others. I've got my Victor Best of 50th anniversary edition hardback came in the post as well. So, and it's also got the free gift in it. It's like a
Wow.
snapper.
Yeah.
But I don't want to remove it for fear of damaging. So I'm going to have a read through that. I might take that on holiday with me. And the other purchase I made was a Tiger Annual from 1963, but it's a really, really poor copy. The binder's missing, the spine,
Yeah.
and it's really
Broken. Yeah.
detached. But it's just a reader because I've not got it, and it'll just fill a gap until I get my
Mm.
another copy of that. But yeah, I've been really pleased in the last month or so. They will go in. I will cherish them along with the rest of my other collections. So
Fantastic.
yeah, I'll let you know at the next collector's corner where
Yeah.
if Phil's copy of Foot 176 arrives, which I'm really, really grateful for. It just shows what a great community we've got out there, help
Mm.
fill gaps. And as I say, I have got some Tiger holiday specials that are doubles and that. So if anybody wants them, one day I'll make a list of the doubles I've got and we can share them around and things. But yeah, that's my collector's corner.
Brilliant. Good
Great stuff.
stuff. Well, so it's nice to see everybody else's collections are moving forward with some good buys there from both gentlemen. Do love the old tactic of mute there for the listeners. So remember that. Don't just go straight to the stall at the garage or the boot sale and say, oh my God, look at those copies. I need them. Have a walk round and an hour later you'll get them for 50p less. So, learn these tactics.
Exactly. There you go.
Is that fair though? They could be bought.
Well, this is it. Well, yeah, you're right. That was good. I don't know.
No, but
I just kind of,
the
yeah. I mean, I think I took a chance
mm,
because I thought, well, I'm not desperate for Hotspur annuals.
yeah,
Um, so I thought I'll take a chance on it. But you're right. Yeah, that's a risk you take, really.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Right, moving on, and big build up. We're moving to it, and it's our last feature. And wow, this is definitely a classic football story. So over to Mute Button and the football family Robinson.
Yeah, football. Thank you very much, tangential one. Yeah, so football family Robinson. So if people are watching YouTube, um, then I'm going to put up some slides just to take you through it. So this is the first picture is from the 1971 Tiger Annual. I just had this up just as because I think it's a brilliant
Yeah,
illustration.
Mm.
Joe Colquhoun is the artist at this time, and you've got like yeah. I mean, I'll go into a bit more detail. But this is Fatcham United. That was the name of the team, and they're all members of the team were all part of the family Robinson. That was the kind of the premise of the story, and you can see all the players there. I won't go through them all because I'll cover them in the
yeah.
rest of the story. But let's move on. Right. So first of all,
Does look like sorry, it does look like a similar artist though who wrote Billy's Boots.
well,
Adrian Boots.
this is it. So John Gillett did take over
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
but even
illustrating.
that does, doesn't it? That looks
It
like.
does. Yeah, no, it looks really similar. Yeah, I know. It's
Oh,
difficult to kind of tell, really. I mean, this might, yeah, actually, it could be. This one could be John Gillett because it's in an annual, so it could be.
Mm.
But it's when I've tried to look at when they changed artists, and it's really
mm,
difficult to kind of
Difficult to
tell.
tell.
Yeah, but I'll go for so
sorry.
first of all, it's in Jag,
Mm.
um, and Jag started in 1968. It's in Fleetway.
Yeah.
Um, just briefly on Jag, it was like tabloid size. It was high quality paper. It was very colourful, very
Mm.
different, I think, to the rest of the comics there. Like four of the pages were in full painted colour and a further four in spot colour. It's quite glossy, and I think it says on the blurb here that this is it's quite close to the actual eagle.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm,
but it only lasted 48 weeks.
wow.
Um, and
Wow.
and
Now that
and
you've shocked me there, but because sorry,
no, go on.
because of course it went into other editions. I don't know why. In my mind, I thought Jag ran a lot longer than that. You've really surprised me there.
Yeah, well, I'll cover it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's well, obviously you had Lion in IPC Fleetweight, then you had Tiger. So
Mm.
you go down the cat theme, and this Jaguars is
Yeah,
short for Jaguar.
yeah,
Um, but
Uh,
yeah, it's and the story Football Family Robinson wasn't in the first one. I think it joined in the summer of '68 really. So I've got a picture on the screen of the penalty area, which was a football strip that was in the
right, yeah.
very first Jag,
Wow.
and there's a front cover there of Jag, and it's got free gift inside Bobby Moore's book of the FA Cup.
Yeah.
So
mm,
there was quite a strong football theme
Mm.
in it, even though the Football Family Robinson wasn't in the first one. But yeah, so on this next slide we've got so Jag actually ran from the 20th. Sorry, it's the story was in Jag Football Family
Mm.
Robinson from the 27th of July '68 to the 5th of April '69 when Jag merged with Tiger. Then the story was in Tiger from the 5th of April '69 to the 5th of October '74 and that's actually when Scorcher joined Tiger. So
Right.
the story
Yeah.
the story left
Mm.
um, Tiger then, but it came back in Roy the Rovers in
Yeah.
1978 to
Mm.
24th of March 1979. And some of the family members, there was Crash Robinson, who was a former stuntman, who's a goalkeeper, Alf Robinson, Bert Robinson, the coach, Jack Robinson, Ron, Titch Robinson, Grizzly Bear Robinson, who joins later on in the story, Ginger Robinson, who actually I'll show you goes on to play for England under 23s,
Wow.
Viv Robinson, who was the kind of glamour puss
mm,
Mhm.
of she was the
Mm.
secretary. Author was the famous Tom Tully, who did so
Yeah.
much stuff.
Yeah. Amazing.
And then obviously it started off Joe Colquhoun was the artist, and like I said, and then passed on to John Gillett, and then I don't know who the artist was in Roy the Rovers, but we'll
and I
No.
just ask you,
Interesting.
just going back, did the
yeah.
story when it finished in Tiger? And I know there's like a 4 year gap. Did it pick up, or was it? Are you going to reveal that?
I'll cover but good
Yeah.
question.
Oh,
God,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So anyway, so I'll fly through some of these early
Mm.
years. So they started off in the fourth division. So on the screen here we've got this is from the 17th of August 1968. Um, it was always in colour
Yeah.
and
Great.
often on the front page of Jag as well.
Yeah.
And you got say the Joe Colquhoun art was at work was superb. Um, there's an early team sheet there. So A Robinson, R Sparks, J Robinson. It's actually got some players there who aren't actually Robinson. So it's a bit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
whether they're
Interesting.
just related through
Mm. Cousins.
marriage or something like. Yeah, could be.
Mm.
So like I said, moving on, 5th of April 1969. This is in Jag. And it's saying
Yeah.
it's introducing. This is the two great papers join forces.
Mm,
Mm.
So you've got the stories that are going to be in the new Tiger and Jag.
Yeah.
You've got obviously it's going to join Skid Solo, Roy the Rovers, Custer, obviously Custer, which friend of the show David Skew
Yeah.
yeah.
has illustrated. Johnny Cougar there. So Football Family Robinson carries so the story in the 17th of May 1969. They're promoted to Division 3.
Wow.
So you've got here, you've got little Titch passes the ball forward. And yeah, they score the goal, and that makes them the champions. And you got Mar Robinson there, grabs hold of the boys, and there's a celebration. Then in 1970, this is really interesting.
Wow.
They actually make the League Cup final. So
Final.
you're in the third division, and
Brilliant.
on the screen there, you can actually see this brilliant artwork. You can actually see Wembley Stadium there, and they're playing a team from London, must be, because it's called Thames Bank, who are a first division team. And you've got to think, I guess, thinking about this. So this is 1970. Third division teams, because didn't Swindon and QPR
Swindon, yeah,
Late
exactly. In the early
Late
days of the League Cup, if you remember as well, I think some of the big clubs were a bit. English football's really funny, isn't it? England didn't play in the early World Cups, and English teams didn't join European competitions, and then when the League Cup started, a lot of the big clubs actually didn't take part. We can be
funny.
very snobby, and so the early years of the making the finals.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, so and they win the League Cup. Yeah, so they won the League Cup in 1970.
Brilliant.
Yeah, we've got little Titch there. I think they go like 3-0 up or something like that. 1-0 up, 2-0, 3-0. They go 3-0, then it's 4-3. Yeah, they win the game 4-3.
Brilliant.
Lovely out.
Got to say, old Titch there. I mean, it's not quite, but he's really reminded me of because we've had hotshot Hamish today. Wee Wally Campbell, the old Princess Park winner
he does,
years later.
Yeah, true, it's true. Yeah, Fred Robinson was. I don't know if he's the dad or he's actually. I think he might have been the dad. I'm not quite sure in the early days whether he's actually married to Mar. Because first of all, he wasn't playing, but then you can see he's going up to pick up the League Cup with a bowler hat on.
Yeah, bowler. I was going to say he's on the pitch with a bowler hat on. It's fantastic.
He always used to play in the bowler hat. Yeah, so that's we move on to 1971, and now they get promoted to Division 2.
Wow.
So there's a strip there, and you've got Fred there still in his bowler hat, and by now, Grizzly Bear Robinson, who they'd actually picked up from a summer holiday to Canada.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Who is a huge character. He scores the actual the winning goal, and that's it. And they're promoted to the second division. In 1972, they win the League Cup again.
Blimey, wowzers!
I know. So you can see this is on this story at half time. Mar realizes that the only time that they actually came close to scoring was when Ron had tried to backheel it. So she says, try shooting when you've got your back to the goal, and Bradburn aren't expecting that. So in the second half, Giraffe Robinson, who was a centre back, who's one of the tall players, he goes up and stands near the goal line. Ball comes over, and he heads it with the back of his head into the goal. So it's 1-0. And then later on in the game, Titch Robinson was quite famous for his overhead kicks, and you can see he scores the second one with an overhead kick, and then does a bit of a somersault, and they've won the cup again. 1972.
Unbelievable.
Then this is interesting. In October 1972, it goes black and white, so it was in colour all until then.
Yeah, amazing.
Now,
wonder why that is.
Well, this one on the screen here definitely looks like John Gillett's artwork.
Yeah, it's changed now.
If you look at Specky Robinson is a kid there in glasses, and yeah, he just really does look like it.
Do you know something? In the bottom left, we see a goal, and the goalkeeper's beaten, but the hairstyle and the face of that goalkeeper reminds me very much actually of the headmaster in the 80s of Groundwood School, or not the headmaster, the games master, manager of the football team. So that's often a giveaway with some of the artists when you see regular character faces.
And I don't know, because it was on the 28th of October that it went black and white, and that's when Martin's Marvelous Mini went at colour in Tiger. So clearly, I don't know what happened. Maybe Joe Cole maybe left, and maybe David
Yeah.
Smew got a bit more money,
Yeah.
so he got the colour for Martin's Marvelous Mini. You
Minis,
don't know
yeah.
what goes on, do you? Really?
No, exactly.
Then this is actually on the screen. It's the 5th of May 1973. They actually reached the semi-finals of the UEFA Cup.
Amazing.
I know. But they actually lose. So
Oh.
the story didn't.
But do you know what I like about that though? Again, and that's often with some of the stories, losing matches and stuff, a bit more realistic than just winning all the time. Because a lot of people would poke fun, a third division team winning the
Yeah.
League Cup. But as we've said, it did actually happen.
Yeah.
But I think probably it would be a stretch, bit too far really, to think that they would then go on and win the UEFA Cup, right? Especially in those days. I mean, that often you got to remember. Well, as we said, we don't have many young listeners, but the UEFA Cup was often actually a stronger competition because if you remember, the old European Cup, which is now the Champions League, just had the previous season's league champions. But the UEFA Cup would have 2 or 3 teams from the top leagues, and they would often be the teams in that season then actually going for their domestic championship. So it was a very difficult competition back then.
It really was. No, you're absolutely right. Yeah. So I think you're right. But a dose of reality there. They couldn't really have a. Well, they were in the second division at the time, but a
Yeah.
second
So
division team winning the
mm,
UEFA Cup would have been a bit of a
yeah,
stretch. So moving on, 26th of May 1973. So this is Ginger Robinson. He's now playing for the
brilliant.
England under 23s. He actually scores 2 goals. Um, so again, you can see the fantastic artwork there,
Yeah,
John Gillett.
brilliant.
Um, and then the 5th of October 1974, the story stops as Scorcher merges with Tiger. So yeah, this is
Wow.
the very last one.
Mm,
And you see at the end,
Yeah.
the final frame, they
mm,
kind of say, "Of course, my dear fellow, the bank." The storyline is a bit of a crazy storyline about
yeah.
some sort of head, which they found an artifact or something, which was being held as some sort of security for a loan. They're trying to get a loan from the bank to. They're always trying to keep the club
Club afloat.
solvent. Yeah, exactly. And you'll see actually when we get to Royal Rovers, that's quite pertinent.
Mm.
But anyway, he finishes it, and then they go. The Mar goes, "That's great news. Now we can all live happily ever after." And underneath the story, they say it's goodbye to the family for wild pals, but one day we hope they'll be back.
I
So that's
wonder
the
why it
fifth.
didn't carry over into the merger. Do you think it was a bit, it either lost viewers because it went from colour
I,
to black and white, or
I
do you think it was just exhausted storyline?
I'll be honest with you, but Bygone. I mean, I don't. I mean, obviously, I don't know that I'm right, but I think the merger of Scorcher. The problem is, remember, Tiger wasn't a foot. It wasn't just a football comic, but Scorcher was a pure football comic.
A lot of,
So if you had Billy's Boots and Hotshot Hamish and Nipper all joining,
yeah,
suddenly you got 3 extra football stories. Now, remember, at that time in
going on.
Tiger, you would have then have had Football Family Robinson and Roy the Rovers. So
Yeah.
suddenly, this kind of sports adventure comic would have had 5 football stories. So they probably decided, and at that time it would have been Roy the Rovers or Football Family Robinson. So I reckon it was just probably as simple as that. We need to bring in stories from Scorcher because if there are any readers out there that are just reading Scorcher, we want them to now read Tiger. So we need their stories in it.
Yeah.
And so we're not going to drop Roy the Rovers. So Football Family Robinson got the short straw. I mean, I could be wrong, but I bet you that was probably the decision at the time.
And just think, I bet there was, at this time, there must have been the grassroots of the idea, the shoots of the idea of a Roy the Rovers comic. But they never, you'd have thought they'd have had Football Family Robinson in #1 Roy the Rovers, wouldn't you? Whereas they left it a few years.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's interesting. I mean,
yeah,
I
that's a
think
good point.
everything you said, Tangent, is right. And they but I think they would have been looking at readers' votes as well, probably
Yeah,
as
oh,
part as part
definitely. Oh,
as
without
part of
doubt.
as
Yeah.
part of all that. But you're
Mm,
right. It's they've got those editorial meetings must have been really interesting.
Yeah.
mm,
As you say, they're talking. Roy the Rovers only comes out 2 years later.
yeah.
Why did it not make the cut? Don't know.
Mm,
We'll see actually because we'll move on. Because when it comes in, it
mm.
actually replaced
The
the
football, yeah.
football which was in the first
Yeah.
Roy the
Roy the
Rovers
Rovers,
on
yeah.
25th of September
Same
1976.
artist.
The football was actually, yeah, exactly. It's the
What
same
you ate
artist as the
football.
football.
Mm, mm.
I never
Um,
got stories like that.
and Yeah, it's there for quite a while actually, the football. But yeah, so
Yeah, and
now
I never. Do you know what? Sorry,
no, go
apologies
on.
but actually, the football is a story that I need to read, mainly though. But it's one that I've got to force myself because it was one that just never appealed to me, and I've never actually read it. I never read it.
The problem
Same
with the
as
football was that it, the only recurring character was a football. So
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
how can you relate
Uh,
to a football?
uh,
I mean,
uh, And sorry, just as we've already mentioned, because we're doing the champ and the We Are United story, isn't it just again, sorry, I prefer for all of you listeners out there that like to play pod bingo, I'm gonna step in for goal, and we've got a new pod bingo word, juxtaposition. So I've got it in there quickly
oh,
for
that's
you
the
all.
position.
But the We Are United, like you said, the comic is all about making you a United fan and drawing you in. And then in Roy of the Rovers, you've got a story. Oh, let's be a fan of a football.
And it always reminded me of Littlest Hobo as well. Littlest
Yeah,
Hobo used to just go on to like
yeah,
new owners every week and
yeah,
wagging his
exactly.
tail, walking down the
Yeah,
road.
yeah, yeah.
And I think that was the
Oh, I
idea
love
of the
you, but at
football.
the end of the episode, like somehow you've been lost and you've found another one.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, yeah, so 8th of April 1978. And yes, and we've got on the screen here, it says the start of a brand new Super Soccer
Yeah,
story. So saying the brand new for obviously the Roy of the Rovers
Ford
comic.
Rovers.
This is the Roy of the Rovers. But on the actual blurb at the start, it says the football family Robinson was one of the most popular stories ever to appear in Tiger. Now, in response to many, many requests, Roy of the Rovers proudly presents the return of the Robinson family and their club, Thatcham United. This unique soccer club is owned and managed by members of the Robinson family, and only Robinsons play in the team. But in recent years, things have not gone well for the club, and they were struggling near the bottom of the fourth division. So,
Interesting.
in the space of 4 years, they've
They've
gone from
gone back
second
down.
division
Yeah.
back down to the fourth division. So they're really kind of struggling, and they're trying not to have to go for re-election because obviously remember
Oh God, yeah, of
re-election.
course. It wasn't relegation back then, was it? It was a re-election. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, as you see, the last panel, you got the fans going. Thatcham are going to have to apply for re-election this year, and no fans going. They'll be lucky if they get back in. So the game finishes, the final whistle, and the players are going. Thank goodness that's over. I never want to play another game of football again. Everything was a shambles. And you've got Ma Robinson there. So I will go through this story. She's going, "You're all a disgrace to the Robinson family. You should be ashamed of yourselves." And they're like, "Oh, we did our best. Give it a rest, Ma. We feel give it a rest, Ma. Oh, blimey,
Yeah.
if Gull was here."
Yeah,
Anyway,
exactly.
pause for Gull's impression of Nick.
Yeah.
Um, and she says something's got to be done about this before we're the laughing stock of football. And one of the players go, "I reckon we are already." And then the voice says, "How about letting me help?" And then suddenly, ta-da! Suddenly this vision appears in some sort of 70s funky get-up with flares and
Well,
wide lapels and a psychedelic shirt. And he goes, "I could do a lot to help this team." And Viv Robinson is going, "It's Wayne Douglas, the pop star." And she's like swooning all over him. She goes, "Oh, Wayne, I'm your greatest fan." And he goes, "Pleased to meet you, chick." Chick. And Mark Robinson goes, "What do you mean you could help Thatcham United? Explain yourself. I've never even heard of you."
Good old Ma.
Good old Mark Robinson. And he goes, "I've made millions out of the pop scene, but football is my number one interest. How about letting me take over the club and use my money to put you back on the map?" She quite rightly says, "No way, only Robinsons are connected with this. You don't qualify, even you are the richest man in the world." He goes, "That's when you're wrong, Ma, because I am a Robinson. My real name's Harry Robinson. Wayne Douglas is only my stage name." Of course, when you think about this 1978, around about this time, you get Elton
That's
John,
what I was just thinking is definitely the old Elton John buys Watford, right?
and you've got Cliff Richard, whose real name was Harry Webb, wasn't it? So
Yeah,
Harry, I
something
don't
like
know.
that, yeah.
There's all sorts of stories into obviously Elton John was Reg Dwight, obviously.
Reached White,
Well,
yeah, that's
yeah.
it, yeah.
Anyway, so his name's Harry Robinson. She hasn't checked this out, by the way. She's just, "Oh, okay. Well, that puts a different light on things," because
Yeah.
you said that's it. No ID.
Why would he lie?
Why would he lie? It's Wayne Douglas.
Exactly.
And he says, "All I want to be is chairman. with full authority to hire anybody. I'd like to get this club out of the mess it's in. The players going, he's going to save us. We'll start winning again. Everything will be all right. They go, for he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow. And everyone's happy, but Ma's not quite sure. She said, oh, he could cause more trouble than Thatcham's ever seen before. So the story continues, and they're all sitting around the dinner table and all getting quite excited. And Ma's there's going, I think you're all getting carried away with this pop star. In the past, I've always run this club. We've been in the second division, and we once won the League Cup.
Yeah.
So continuity error, because clearly they won it twice.
Twice, yeah.
Yeah. And she goes, but that was years ago, like 4 years ago. Well, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And we've been relegated from the second and third divisions. So they did try to do some continuity there, which I think was quite interesting, really. Anyway, the press are all outside the house, and they're going, Wayne Douglas arrives, and he's going, no comment. And they're asking, what changes are you going to make? And anyway, he goes into the house and he goes, morning, family. Well, what have you decided? Am I to be Thatcham's new chairman? And Ma said, well, the Beanite voted, but we're watching you very closely. And Wayne goes, great, I'll start work right away. And Fred Robinson's there in his bowler hat, says, well, you better come and officially meet the family. So Wayne gets introduced to the whole family, and he goes, here you go, we've got our daughter Viv, who's the club secretary, Ron and Titch, two of our strikers, and Grizzly Bear Robinson, our midfield star, who comes from the Canadian branch of the family. And there's Wayne jets off, and I go, well, where are you off to? He's going to transfer my first £500,000 of my money into the club funds, then down to the ground. There's work to do. So I get down to the ground, and they're talking about training. And he's saying, actually, you know what, it's a bit old-fashioned, all this sort of stuff. And she was like, how dare you, Ma Robinson said. I worked out that training routine. Wayne's, then in the future, you better stick to making porridge, Ma. That training looks 100 years out of date. Right, you guys, gather around. There's someone I'd like you to meet. And like, don't say you've signed a new player already. He said, not a new player, a new manager. And the players go, but that's Tommy Robinson, the manager of First Division Burnton United. They're third in the league. And he goes, the salary I've offered Tommy is almost double what he was getting at United. He's taken over at Thatcham. He's going to get us out of the fourth division. Grizzly's there. Gee, I never met a real live First Division manager before. And Tommy's there going, I'm glad you're impressed, Grizzly, because you're my short-term secret weapon. You're going to be my Roy of the Rovers.
Wow.
So I kind of glossed over the use of Tommy Robinson there as a name. I don't think we'll go into any more detail.
Yeah, no, exactly, yeah.
22nd of April 1978. The only front cover, I think, of Football Family Robinson. And I think this is the artist that looks. I think this is David Skew artwork.
I think it is actually, yeah.
So you've got David Skew artwork. Grizzly scoring a goal on the front cover. It's brilliant stuff. So anyway, it's the first match, and Grizzly's there. He's talking and he's saying, I feel terrified. Why has Tommy Robinson decided to make me centre forward? And Fred's saying, he was only appointed yesterday, Grizzly. So he says he's not had time to make major alterations to our style. Tommy comes in and he goes, yeah, that's right, Skipper. I'm going to use Grizzly as a big, tough centre forward for some matches. That should frighten a few defences. Who knows? He'll be another Roy of the Rovers. Right, so they get out on the pitch, and they've got a team photo here, and I'm just going to flick to the team photo because that's
lovely team photo. Yeah.
So you've got left to right, you've got Jack Robinson, Crash Robinson, Alf Robinson, Grizzly Bear Robinson, Cyril Robinson, Bert Robinson, Toby Robinson, front row, Ma Robinson. She's on the front row. I don't know why Ma Robinson's there. I'm not quite sure. Specky Robinson, who's the trainer. Viv Robinson, the sexy secretary. Giraffe Robinson, Titch Robinson, Fred Robinson, who's bowler hat on. Ron Robinson, Ginger Robinson. That's all the Robinson.
Brilliant.
Dear. Right. Okay. So Wayne turns up as well. He's got an ice cream, and so the game starts. Thatcham's. They sweep onto the attack. And the crowd are going, look at them move. I haven't seen them move so smartly all season. They're trying to impress Tommy Robinson. Come on, family, let's try for a quick goal. Giraffe sends over a perfect centre. It's a great cross. Oh no, what's wrong with Grizzly? He doesn't seem to have noticed it. He's still daydreaming, Grizzly. He doesn't know what's going on. But suddenly the ball hits him on the head and he goes straight in the goal. It's 1-0 to Thatcher.
Brilliant.
He scored. He didn't even know what he's doing. He's got one of these weird windmill hats on. You know,
Yeah, I was going to say.
hats, which I used to have in the States, didn't I? Super goal, Grizzly, a real winner. It doesn't even look as if he tried. And like Wayne Douglas is loving this because suddenly they're 1-0 up with 1 minute gone. So anyway, next week the game continues, and there's another crossover. It's Titch doing his famous overhead kick. Ron comes up into the attack. He hits the first time shot. Oh, it was too high. It's gone over the bar. And already Grizzly, though, he's having a shout at Ron. He's saying, you should have passed it to me. I'm the new Roy the Rovers. He scored a lucky goal, and already he thinks he's Roy.
He's the star man.
Yeah. Anyway, game continues. The goalie kicks the ball out. It hits Grizzly on the back of the head and flies back into the goal. He scored again.
He's a natural goal grabber, isn't he?
He's knocked flat out, and it's like he's scored 2 goals already, and he's got stars going around his head. He's got, what happened? And Specky Robinson says, you scored. That's what happened. We're winning 2-0, and you scored both of them. Wayne Douglas is loving this. He's going, what a team. And he's calling up the Daily Gazette saying, I've got an exclusive quote for you. Thatcham will be in the first division within 4 years. Tell everyone Wayne Douglas says so.
Oh, brilliant.
So it's now half time, and Tommy's there and he's going, I don't know what to say. Last week I was manager of a first division team containing 6 internationals. Now, and this week I have you lot. Just a minute, Mr. Manager. Marv Robinson steps in. These lads have been striving all season to produce results for the family. What right have you to come along here and start insulting them? They're winning, aren't they? But Tommy's like, yeah, but will they after 90 minutes? So no, they go back out for the second half. And after only seconds, Wanderers have actually scored. They pulled a goal back. It's 2-1. And they're like, oh, Marv Robinson's there. Pay attention, family. If you throw this match away, I'll personally thrash every one of you. You've got to win. Thrash it with an umbrella, because she's always carrying around an umbrella.
Yeah.
Fred with a hat, Marv with an umbrella, ready for any weather. Game continues. And the crowd are going, come on, family, wake your ideas up. Oh, no, Cyril's lost it. Cyril Robinson's lost it. That guy should be in an old folks' home. Cranthorpe, they storm onto the attack. Grizzly gets back. He's running back now. He's okay now. He's running back to help the defence. But then, to the horror of the Thatcham supporters, he barges out a player. And, oh, no, he's not the guy flying. The referee's given a penalty. Oh, no, what a fiasco. On the Thatcham bench, Tommy Robinson couldn't bring himself to watch. I can't look. 2 points to make certain we avoid finishing in the bottom 4. Just wait until I see that big ape Grizzly after the game, Marv Robinson says. None of the Robinsons are looking. It's that crashing goal. It's all up to him now. What's he going to do? Knowing that everything depended on him, Crash Robinson makes a superhuman effort. He saved it. Brilliant.
What a save.
Yeah, but Cranthorpe wonders, so we follow up and they've scored. They've made it 2-2. The full-time whistle sounds. Oh dear, Grizzly's there. Oh, it's all my fault. So no, you can't blame yourself, Grizzly. But then Titch goes, wait, look at that. Oh my God, and it's Mar. She's there with her umbrella. She's waiting for us. Oh no, what do we do? She says she's going to thump us. And so then you have the comical scene of Mar chasing all after them, and the family are running away. They jump on a bus. They jump on a bus. And they're frightened to go home.
Yeah.
There's Marv Robinson sitting indoors, and they won't even go indoors. They're still outside in full kit. And in the end, they manage to go in. They can't slip in through the back, and then open the door, and then there's a great big bowl of water just lands on top of them. And Viv is there, so yeah, sorry, that was there for throwing the match away like idiots. Anyway, you ran off before you could have a shower, so now you've had one. So afterwards, anyway, they move on to the next match. Now, interestingly, one of their rivals, Tarcaster, lost. So Thatcham and Tarcaster are exactly level on points. So if Thatcham win and Tarcaster lose or draw, then they'll be clear of the bottom four places, so they won't have to apply for a re-election. So Tadcaster are playing at home. Thatcham are away to Branton Town. It's not going to be easy, as Mel Robinson says. And Tommy Robinson there, he's really motivating the team. You lot are a shambles. Your performance on Saturday was pathetic. And as for running away after the game, I've a good mind to suspend a lot of you. And as Grizzly says, you'll be lucky, chum. We're the only players the club's got.
That's a good point. You can't argue with that, can you?
So, anyway, Wayne Douglas is there as well. He's going, Tommy's right. You were a mess last week. Once the season's over, I'm going to sign lots of new players. Right now, we've got to make do with you lot. So he's, the manager and the chairman are really kind of not really helping themselves, really. So, anyway, the game starts. Ron Robinson's at centre forward for the match. He kicks off. Okay, family, he says, what are we waiting for? Let's go. Let's make sure 4th Division soccer next year. There's an early attack. It's cut out by Branton. And played that man. That stopped Thatcham in their tracks. The ball was passed back to the Branton goalie as he looks up. The whole team's come forward. Who's behind me? I wonder. This might just work. And he boots the ball, the Branton keeper, and it's gone right over everybody, including over Crash Robinson. It's gone straight into the goal. Oh my God, what a start to the match. So Thatcham were 1-0 down already, and the Branton goalie has actually scored it himself. Unbelievable. As Tip says, just the start they didn't want. So anyway, the game continues. It's unsettled the Robinsons that first goal. And a moment later, Branton, they've scored again. It's 2-0 down. Oh gosh. In the stand, Wayne Douglas, he's going, this isn't working out right. This isn't working out right at all. Cubs always do well when a pop singer takes them over. Look at Watford. Basham should be the same. Very good stuff there.
Yeah.
And then there's an announcement comes over the loudspeakers. And here's the latest score from Tadcaster. Tadcaster 3, Benchmore 1. So Tadcaster are winning 3-1. And
not going well.
Thatcham are 2-0 down. What's going to happen? Oh, dear. So anyway, Titch is there. He says, we're going to get a real telling off from Tommy at half-time. Never mind him. Look at your Ma. She's on the warpath again. And there she goes. Ma Robinson, she's now got a rolling pin. She swapped the umbrella for a rolling pin.
I was going to say, that's going to hurt a lot more than the umbrella.
Immediately, I think Grizzly sees that and he goes, charge. And the crowd are going, go, Grizzly, you're bigger than them. And he hits the ball and it hits the post. Oh, no, but Titch is there with the rebound. But that stopped on the line. Oh, my God, there's a big melee and everyone was falling over each other. Oh, it's a big mess. And the ball was saved and then it squirms out. And there's Cyril Robinson. He's 3 scores. They've got one back. And he shouts out, Cyril, how about that, Ma? You can put the rolling pin away now. She's like, no, I want 2 more goals before I do. Don't let me down or you'll all suffer for it. So now the team are like, they're playing like, as the crowd says, they're playing like world beaters and they're really going for it. So we move on to next week, and this is more like it. The Robinsons are playing with much more fire. And then they launch another attack. Grizzly and Ron really sandwiched between the keepers managed to punch it away. Oh, what a clearance. He's put some power into over a kick. Oh, no, Thatcham are committed to the attack. They've caught them. Oh, my God. And Branton, they're breaking fast. The ball comes over, and Alf Robinson says, Crash, it's all yours. Alf tries a back pass to Crash. He doesn't hit hard enough. He's given a free pass to the Branton forward. They've scored again. 3-1 to Branton Town. And the latest score comes over on the loudspeaker. And it says Tadcaster are 4-1 up now against Benchmore. Surely now they're doomed to the bottom 4. Thatcham. There's no way back from this. Tommy Robinson now, he's like, how did I get persuaded to take charge of this bunch? My reputation will be ruined. And Wayne Douglas is on the phone. He's on the phone to his agent, I think. He says, Charlie, you're my agent. You've got to help me. I don't want to lose his image. What do I do? They're trying to get out of this.
Already.
Mark Robinson's there. She says, where's Tommy Robinson? He should be here, sorting you lot out. And they're saying, well, we haven't seen him, Mark. Let's just give up. Give up? Robinson's never give up. I've got a plan. And if your miserable useless manager won't help you, then it's all up to me. So, yeah. So Wayne and Tommy are talking. And they're going, yeah, okay, we're going to cut losses and we're going to quit right away. Yeah. I'm going to take over a first division club. And Tommy's like, yeah, make me manager. I'm not used to dealing with part-time idiots.
Should have thought of that in the first place. Both of them really, shouldn't they?
But this is still a half time. 5 minutes later, Specky Robinson's there. He's listening to he's watching the TV. He goes, Mark, everybody, something sensational's just happened. They're just going to give out the news on TV. And they listen to the news, and it says, I've just been handed a sensational item of news. Wayne Douglas, the chairman, and Tommy Robinson, the manager, have both quit Thatcham United. So at half time, they've quit. And it's been replayed back to in the dressing room. Brilliant stuff there. So anyway, they come out for the second half despite all this. Branton, they're being really quite cocky now, and they're going. One of the players going, "Okay, lads, I think I'll get a hat trick this time." But Grizzly won't have this, and he barges over it, and it says on the caption, it says Johnny Dexter would have been proud of the tackle. Okay, show off. I'll take the ball. He goes, right, family, let's go, charge. And straight away, he passes the ball over, and it goes to Ron Robinson, and it's there. They pull one back.
Nice goal, actually.
Very good.
Good teamwork. Good teamwork.
And then, the loudspeaker. Something from the loudspeaker, and there's sensational news from Tarcaster. The latest score is Tarcaster 4, Fetchmore 4. Fetchmore pulled back 3 goals.
Wow.
It's amazing. And they're saying, wow. Well,
last day drama, you can't beat it, can you?
You can't beat it. And so Titch says, we could get 2 points. Let's get stuck in. Now, there's a hard... Titch has got the ball, and Grizzly's like, oh, Titch, to me. Titch passes to Grizzly. Oh, but it's a foul. Oh, no, he's gone down. That stopped you. But the referee points to the spot. Oh, he's given a penalty. Who's going to take the penalty? And, okay, Ron, it's all yours. Don't make any mistake. Just think of Ma. But Ron's thinking of Ma with a rolling pin, and he's like, oh, my God, she's going to kill me if I don't score. So, anyway, he makes no mistake, and he scores. What a rocket. That's a real hot shot. The scores are even. But no. The referee's not giving it. But why? It looks like a perfect goal. Sorry, lads. The goalie moved before the kick was taken. You'll have to take it again.
What?
Oh, my God. This is drama. This is almost like Danefield United drama. This is
yeah.
penalty,
But what I don't get with that one, though, I mean, if the goalie's moved, he didn't save it. If you still score, you shouldn't then retake it, right? So the goalie's gained an advantage by cheating.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Loads of crazy things happened in 1978, didn't they?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Brilliant.
So... But now, this time, Ron Robinson, he won't take it now. He said, no, I can't. It's no good. I can't take it. It was bad enough the first time. And I'm like, come on, lad. The family are depending on you. And nobody wants to take it. Come on, Ron. No, I can't. There's too much. But then suddenly, somebody's bent down. I think it looks like it's Crash Robinson. And he's going, there's too much talk and not enough action. Crash Robinson, the goalkeeper's come up and he's taken the kick and he scores.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. And the loudspeaker. Pardon?
2 goals he scored in a game.
2 goals. Yes. Well done, Bygone.
Yeah.
At the moment, and at that moment, over the loudspeaker, there's another announcement. And the latest news from Tarcaster is that the scores are still level. So they just need one more goal and they'll be safe. And on the touchline, Mara Robinson's there. She's sitting with her daughter Viv and Specky, the club trainer. And Viv is saying, what was your secret plan to win the game, Ma? And Specky's saying, are the players using it now? Ma's saying, no, they're not, but I'll tell you later. So the game continues. Titch does his famous overhead kick. Goes, yours, Ron. Great ball by Titch. He was always good at the overhead kick. Now make use of it, Thatcham. From Ron to Bert, who cuts in towards the goal. Oh, look at Bert move. He's found a new lease of life. The ball's, he squares it. He's laid the ball right at Fred's feet. Shoot, Fred. Captain Fred Robinson made no mistake, and he scores. They're 4-3 up. We're going to win. We'll be safe from re-election. And Mars Robinson said, the match isn't over yet. Get back out there and pat the defence. Branton can come forward and they break in. But then suddenly a dog runs on the pitch. What's going on? He must be a Thatcham supporter. Get him off the pitch. The winger censors the ball. Oh, no. Come here, boy. The dog's still running loose. Suddenly, Branton have equalised with a header. The Thatcham players were all watching the dog. Oh no, what's happened? They could have thrown away the whole professional future by concentrating on a dog. What a fiasco.
I was going to say, that is absolutely farcical. It's a complete fiasco, if you ask me.
So, Branton, yeah, it is. I agree with you, tangential one. Branton are like, we've done it. We've got an equaliser. But hold on a second. The referee's, what's he doing here? And the referee says, I blew to stop the match before the winger centered the ball. As soon as I saw the dog on the pitch, I decided it was interfering with play. It's a drop ball. He's stopped. He's disallowed the
Brilliant.
goal.
Brilliant.
Now it's the turn of the Branton players to protest. It was a goal, ref. You can't disallow it. But no, he tells them get away or give out a yellow card. But there's hardly time for the game to restart. He blows the final whistle, and that's it. They've done it. Well, they've won the game anyway. The 2 points of what they needed. Now they just got to hope that Tarcaster have managed to hold out. Mar Robinson's waiting for the players. Oh, how about that, Mar? Aren't we the heroes? That was a brilliant idea of yours to broadcast the Tarcaster match score over the loudspeakers. And then Mar says, that's just the trouble. That wasn't the real scores you heard. I made them up. I thought if you heard Tarcaster were losing, it would give you something to play for. And my idea worked. Like, but what was the real score at Tarcaster? And this is brilliant.
Brilliant.
And she said, I'm just going to find out. She picks up a payphone. And she picks up none of the crowd have told her what the score
No.
is.
It's funny because, I mean, in all honesty, back in those days, there was still such a thing as transistor radios.
Yeah, there was. None of the press. She's put in 10 pence into the slot, and she said, I'm just going to find out the last thing I heard, Tarcaster were winning. So all the players are around the pay telephone, and they're like, hurry up, Ma, I can't stand this. And she's on the phone, and clearly she's listening to something, and she's going, what? That right? Are you sure? Absolutely sure. And they're going, come on, what happened? What happened? And a big smile appears on her face. She goes, the match was a draw, just like I said. The score I invented was the actual score. We are safe. Oh, no,
Come on, Thatcham. Come on.
And they lift her up, but I mean, I take a bit of lifting. She's a bit of.
I was going to say she's a big old girl, is Ma.
A big old girl, is Ma. And then they ended up dropping her in the bath.
Brilliant.
And that was the end of it. And yeah, just to finish, Wayne Douglas and Tommy Robinson come back in and say he's decided not to resign after all. and the last panel is you have Ma. She's put a rolling pin away and she's picked up her umbrella again and she chases them out of the ground. So that's the story. I mean, I won't. And then it actually ends. The next slide shows it ends on the 24th of March 1979, and it says there a brand new story starts next week. Don't miss it. And it was actually replaced by The Boy Who Hated Football,
which was another great title for a story in a football comic, and another story that I never really read,
which wasn't great.
Story.
Yeah.
And just to finish off, I just came to the last couple of slides. So I mean, the story appeared in Tiger Annuals throughout the 70s.
Right. Yeah.
This is actually one which was it wasn't actually a picture story, but it's a text story.
Right, yeah.
This is David Skew. So David Skew's the artist here on these ones, doing these illustrations. And it did actually appear in one Roy the Rovers annual. Right. So the 1980 Roy the Rovers annual. Yeah. And the storyline there was Fred Robinson lost his bowler hat. So you can imagine that.
Oh dear.
But brilliant. That's it. That's the football family. Robinson.
Brilliant.
Wow. An amazing story. Yeah, no, brilliant. I mean, I must admit, it's a story I'm aware of, but it does again fall into that category of one of the ones that I was going to read later on in life. I've never really read it, and it's interesting. I've always found the premise quite funny as well, though, that they've all got to be Robinsons, you know what I mean? And if you really do say you're tracing that to the actual family, that's very difficult. You know? I mean, it's quite a common name. So I could say if you just said, as long as your surname's Robinson, you could get a team out. But if you're saying you've actually got to be related, I can imagine that being very difficult, right?
Well, what can you think of any team that had a lot? I've got one in mind. I'm thinking of the Chelsea team in the 70s when you had Ray Wilkins. I think you had Graham Wilkins, and I think there's another brother as well. So there's three Wilkins. But yeah, I mean,
you got Clive Allen, want the dad of footballer.
Well, the Allen family were, but I mean, as far as I'm aware, I don't ever remember Paul Allen and Clive Allen played for Tottenham at the same time. But I don't know that any of the Allens did. Yeah, you got the Wallace brothers for Southampton.
Rod, Danny.
Danny.
But you're trying to think of 3 or 4.
Rod, Danny.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, the only thing that I can think of, and it's not a family, and I'm probably going to get this wrong because I'm going to say, is it Real Sociedad? unlike Barcelona, that I don't know if they've still got it, but they had the rule where all the players have to have come from the Basque region. So they're not
Ah,
necessarily the same family, but that has caused them. I mean, in all fairness, they've done very well over the years, but I know that's caused them problems, and I don't know if they've relaxed that in recent years. I think it is Real Sociedad,
mm,
but
mm.
yeah.
Bilbao, is it not?
Mm.
Bilbao are
So
the
Oh, is
same.
it Athletic
Bill
Bilbao?
might have been Athletic Bilbao, yeah.
Yeah, we're in the Basque country, aren't
Yeah,
we? Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, difficult.
It's a good when you think, though, if you're young, it's a brilliant story, and it says you get older, you think, Ma and Grant, whatever she's called, the mum, they're going to be,
It,
Ed and Ma are going to be busy, aren't they, to
yeah,
populate the team?
yeah. Definitely.
Mara and
I
Fred.
got to say, falls into that category of stories, and I'm a bit of a hypocrite
Great
actually because
artist.
I was going to say not stories that I liked, but then at the same time, I kind of fell in and out of love with the hard man. And, as we know, the Victor Boscovich character often was a bit marmite for a lot of readers, but also the Kevin Mouse story, Mighty Mouse, and in fact, even really Hotshot
Yeah.
Hamish, they were stories, they were more of the
Hamish.
humorous stories. Yes, Hamish. Um, where they kind of really you had to suspend belief quite a lot, didn't you? But they were the humorous stories, right? And I think I could be wrong, but looking at that there, the Football Family Robinson, it looks to me that it falls into that category. It's a bit slapstick and it's more humorous, right?
Yeah, and I can remember it. So I don't remember it in Tiger because obviously it's before I was reading
Yeah.
it, but I do remember it in Roy the Rovers, and I do remember enjoying
Mm.
it. But
Right.
then
Yeah.
I was 8 then,
Yeah.
and it's like kind
Yeah, it's
of like
completely different. I was
exactly.
going to say, I mean, I think as Neil said there, Bygone said there, I mean, for me, it was before my time of reading, and when I've sort of seen bits, it's not appealed, and I've not read it. But I also remember, like in Roy the Rovers, people used to write in and say that Smith and Son, not that that was a slapstick
Mm.
story, was very much like Durrell's Palace, and I found Smith and Son very difficult to read, and yet I loved Durrell's Palace.
Yeah, me too.
So,
Same. Yeah.
well, brilliant. Another fantastic feature then. So I think it's time to start moving on and give out the social media details. So Bygone, should have discussed this. Are you up for this? Have you got your notepad out and
I've got my
ready to
notepad out.
go
Yeah,
for it?
I'm
Do you want
ready
to
to
do the
press it.
Facebook?
Yeah, I've got the Roy the Rovers comic, 40 years on, in brackets, Melchester Rovers,
Mhm.
which friend of the show, Ed Taylor's group, which is a great, great group. We've got Striker World, which is also on Facebook.
Can I just interrupt
Yeah,
actually,
yeah,
because you've just broken, and I should have mentioned this in Collector's Corners. So for all Nick Jarvis and Striker fans, now is your time to go onto Striker World because there's big news on there. Pete Nash is selling loads of copies for a good price, knockdown price of all the marvelous annuals that he did, the entire history of Striker. So for more information on that, as Neil's just said, I direct you to that Facebook group, and there's a lot of details on there for that. So please go and have a look. And if you haven't got those comics, this is a fantastic opportunity to get your hands on some good deals there for some good copies. Sorry, Neil. I meant
I
to
think at
mention
the
that in
minute, if
Collector's
you
Corner.
didn't buy them first time round, there's some good deals. But he's also tried to help the people who did buy them as well, first time round as
That's
well.
right. Yep.
And it's worth noting on the Rebellion site, they were having a sale as well on like the Roy the Rovers hardbacks from the 60s, 70s, and 80s as well. But yep, we've got the Mighty World of British Comics. That's also on Facebook. And as I mentioned on the last podcast, we've got the Great British Comics Collection as well with Doug's site there where he's selling his collection, a friend of his collection for charity as well. He's not posted at the moment, but he does post on a regular basis, does some great deals on there. So, yep, that's the Facebook site.
Cool. Well, Mute, over to you for the things I don't know, Blue Square, YouTube, X,
Yes.
what are they all called?
Who knows? Yeah. So we're on Blue Sky, and it's at champcomics.bsky.social. We're on X, that's at champ_R, and we're on YouTube as Champ We Are United. So find us on there as well. Back to you,
Brilliant.
tangential one.
Yeah, and well, as we like to, I mean, it's we mention of it how our pod started on a forum there, and it's the champweareunited.proboards.com. And as we like to say, there's 55,767 total posts, and we know that at least 55,700 of them are all by goal. But look out for those other
The pod
look out for
follower.
those other 67 posts. I think some of them from Eagle, Rich, and Simo. They're definitely worth a read. But no, obviously, joking aside, it is a brilliant reference site. So please check it out.
I
Yeah,
think we were
there's some great
saying
stuff
earlier
on there.
there's a lot of rabbit holes out there that you can go
Yeah,
down
yeah,
on
yeah.
that page.
Oh,
It's
yeah, there definitely
very
is. There
dangerous.
definitely is. Yeah. Right. Well, bygone.
Mhm.
Final thoughts on tonight's pod, and do you want to say goodbye to everybody?
Yeah, really enjoyed it. Seeing as though it was just the three of us, I think we've covered a lot of content between the three of us, and hope
Yep.
it made for an enjoyable podcast because I've enjoyed being here, hopefully part of it. Thank you very much, and take care, everybody. Look after yourselves, and
Hey.
look forward to the next podcast.
Mute button.
Yeah. Well hosted, tangential one, and it's good to have the latest saga in the holidays of Bygone Berrigan. I wonder who's on holiday next time and where are they?
Exactly.
Where they're going to
If
be.
are they near a cliff? Are they under a cliff? Are they over a cliff? Who knows? Yeah, no, great stuff. Hopefully listeners enjoyed it, and we'll be back again very, very soon.
Yeah, brilliant. Cheers, guys. Well, as you said, it's been fantastic. We have got some new, we have mentioned it. We're still working on getting the fantastic people from the Football Picture Story monthly comics. As we said, I know Bygone's working his way through the holiday special, so we've got more content. I'm sure Mute's got a few new football stories to This Is Your Life stories to come up as well. Obviously, we're going to keep on with the Champ We Are United story. I'm hopefully lining up a hotshot Hamish summer story when he came across a goalkeeper with rock hands who could save the hot shot, and be interesting, and looking to do a season review of a club soon. So we've got loads more content coming up in the pods. But for now, it's been a great episode. Thanks to my fellow guests, presenters in the studio. Hopefully, the rest of the team will be back with us soon. And this has been episode 106. And we look forward to seeing you in 107. Goodbye.
Take care, everyone.
Goodbye.